Yeah. You know?
Blurry. Yeah, I guess we're ready. They are on there.
How are you?
I'm fine.
You just arriving from work?
Yes.
I figured as much. Would you like to look at these and give some signatures? Bobby has not started this.
Okay,
Well, okay, there's your chance.
we've scheduled this meeting to discuss about the beach up there. We've been having some problems. Vandalism, burning the porta potty down, staving up picnic tables and that sort of stuff.
Or launching them.
Yeah, putting them in the lake as a raft, ending up on the front side of Canton Lake. So I've come to think that next summer we should be putting up some cameras. When they start this again, I had picked up a camera here a few weeks ago, and I was hoping we wouldn't have to put it up until next summer, swimming season. But that's when the picnic table come up missing and ended up on the front side of Canton Lake. Me and Elizabeth scavenged it up, took it back to her place. So we're just here to discuss some of the stuff of what we can do. If anybody has any ideas? Yeah, that's true.
Some of the state parks have buried a concrete block and put a hoop on it and then chain the picnic table to that.
Not a bad thought. Because if you just chain it to the tree, it wouldn't chainsaw.
Or burn the tree. Or burn the tree.
Or burn- yeah, or something. Or something. I like that. I like that.
I do want to mention that I made a call into Livermore, and they've been having similar problems as we've had at their public beach. Livermore Falls, way more than in Livermore. At
Are you
Bretton's
talking
Pond.
about Bretton's? Yeah.
Yeah, way more problems than we have. Theirs is open to the public, and they've had feces issues, people building permanent structures to live in. They've had dirty diapers,
Permanent
trash.
structures?
Well, trying to, yeah. Creating a homestead. So they've had lots of issues there, and so I'm just saying that we want to be cautious and make sure we maybe put some great ground rules out there and update some of the signs, maybe combine them so that people are aware that they need to have a permit and that we are going to enforce it. And yes, sorry.
Leanne?
Kathy.
Yes.
You guys are gonna be working on the policy for next year too, about fees and
Beach policy,
non-residents
yes.
and all that.
That's right.
That'll be on the agenda probably next week or next week.
Yep.
Yeah, sometime between now and beach
Next
season.
year, yep.
Well, our
I'd say
rate
no.
of
We
speed.
got a lot next meeting. How about, because we've got a couple other things. What about November first weekend?
Okay.
What's the liability on the bridge about people jumping off? Because I know a lot of riff raff that happens, kids with pine shorts coming over, jumping off.
Zero,
Trestle.
zero
Okay.
liability. No town would have a playground, would have a swimming pool, would have a beach, would have a skating area, if not for a law that was passed. I'm gonna say it was back in the
With a
60s.
sign up
It's
saying,
called the
"No
Maine
jumping,
Tort,
no
excuse me,
trespassing on the
excuse me.
bridge." That's all.
You put up all the signs you want. People are gonna do what they're gonna do. But what I'm trying to tell you about, or tell everybody about, is something called the Maine Tort Claims Act. And the Maine Tort Claims Act basically states that towns cannot be held liable for stuff people do to themselves on recreational property. We can be held liable for somebody slip, trip, and fall on the steps or on the ramp here, or on a sidewalk, if we have any sidewalks, just this area. We could be held liable for something like that, or if somebody gets hurt within our building. Other than that, a recreational property, no. Or we wouldn't have accepted the railroad bed and have a bridge out there. And the reason we ended up buying that was because somebody was going to buy it private and gate it off, because they would have been held liable. Any private citizen, anyone, is going to be held liable for anything somebody else does on their property, which is why, unfortunately, we see no trespassing signs. But in the case of the town, we have no liability if people do something stupid on the beach.
So saying right now, the sign, no, nothing saying, no jumping, no.
But why should there be?
Why should there
But
be?
I agree, I think that would be
If I
limited.
can come to them and say, hey, we're soon be jumping off this bridge, you're not supposed to jumping off the bridge.
Yeah,
Go back to my
you
shore,
know.
go back to your beach site, you know, some of that riffraff, after a period of repeating it, might not be there, you know, jumping off the bridge.
Hmm,
hanging
okay.
out.
Natasha?
Is there a problem with people jumping off the bridge? I feel like people have been jumping off the bridge for the last 50 odd years.
50? I don't know, when was, I think the railroad was actually pulled, was it 36? Yeah, the railroad has been gone since, what was it, 1936? It's been a long time, the people have been jumping off that bridge. I don't know how many broken necks there have been, but I haven't heard of one.
There's no teenage hangout, that's what I find out.
Mm.
I think that we ought to have a sign at the end of the town property that says, it's 200 feet past the bridge, that says, this is Hartford Town Beach. Because some people are using it like it's their private property.
I think that's a great idea.
Oh, I missed it. Which was?
She nominated that you take care of it all. No, she didn't. She mentioned
Great idea.
parking at the beginning of the town beach on the far side, on the other side of the bridge, where town property starts, so that
You can see the blades on the tree, you can see the stone marker, it's really clear. It would be worth it.
but it'd be more clear if we had a sign that says, now beginning Hartford Beach, Hartford residents only.
Facing out.
Right.
You guys get to go down this afternoon,
Well, I
Lenny?
think there's Hartford residents who own that property who come down through.
And while we're talking about signs, if I may, I've only ever seen one coach pull up to the Hartford Beach with a motor.
And you spend quite a bit of time
I
there.
spend a lot of time at the beach. There are a ton of boats over in Pine
Mm.
Shores. I don't know what their rules are, but on the Hartford Beach, there isn't supposed to be a motorized boat within 100 feet. I've seen one only, but Elizabeth was there too. The party boat people that came in. But it wouldn't do any harm to have a sign down there that said, no, I don't know how you put it. Dog, right? They're supposed to be 100 feet out.
I just like to mention one little thing, is we have signs all over everywhere that say, no dogs, no fires, no smoking.
No alcohol.
alcoholic beverages, all of those things are routinely violated all the time. Brings up, is Sarah here? It
Sarah
brings
is
up
here.
a wonderful question, Sarah.
Which is?
Amongst many of them. Who's in
She
charge?
missed it because we had a long discussion today, so she's more than welcome to say it.
Anyway, the basic that we have to get down to is who is responsible? Who is going to enforce this? We have no police. We count on the goodwill of our citizenry to do the responsible thing and act like good community members. And that clearly doesn't work all the time. It's a great deal of the time.
Evidently not.
It does work if people like me
But-
are willing to say something and I do.
But again, you have to be careful how you say something.
Yes.
If you're just going to
Well, yeah, you could get in trouble.
aggravate people.
My approach is always, gee, I hate to see you get a fine, so do you have? blah, blah, blah.
But they're not gonna get a fine.
Well,
It goes
okay,
back
they
to
say, well,
the important question of who's responsible, who's going to enforce.
Kathy's right.
What's that?
Can I say
She's
Oh,
something?
yeah.
asking to be recognized.
So we hired Steve Ellsman to be doing some of the police, some of the
Constable is the word.
Ellsman to oversee intermittent times at the beach, so that people aren't aware exactly when we're gonna be there, check permits and do enforce rules. as the town of Turner said to me when I called them, they have a full-time person that's there 90% of the time, but she's almost retirement age, and so is the lady in Oxford. She does it because they love the beach. But to hire someone that's gonna sit there all the time is just not gonna work. It's not affordable, it's not, so, but at this point, I mean, a lot of the signs are really faded. I think combining the signs, I think having Steve there and showing some people that in 2023, there's a new sheriff in town, type of constable in town. And that permits are gonna be checked and they don't know when, so they're gonna come, I think, more prepared as we start enforcing and making some
Elizabeth?
fines or whatever to folks.
Elizabeth?
Well, I talked with, person Julie, was in school with my daughter, and, she's down at the Turner Beach. From 10 in the morning until 4 in the afternoon on weekends and 10 to 3 during the week. So it's not full time at all. But since most people don't know when she's gonna be there,
Right.
it seems to work. She's had only one problem that resolved itself without calling a sheriff. And so I think that if we allow people from other towns, like the people who take swimming lessons and so on, to buy a ticket to the beach for the summer for $50 or something like that, we could hire somebody like that. She said she's a teacher in Turner, and so she has the summer off, and she likes the quiet, beautiful place to read, and it's not a great big job. She only gets minimum wage, and so I think that would enhance our beach.
Would you say 10 to 4?
10 to 3.
10 to 4 on weekends, 10 to 3
Okay.
during the week.
Okay, I'm just wondering, has anybody,
works 7
has
days.
anybody thought this through far enough? I'm just pulling out the calculator. Has anybody thought this through enough to actually have done the math?
No.
I'm just
Because I
wondering.
don't know how many people would buy tickets. I don't know if it's possible, but it seems like a good idea.
In other words,
Turner is a locked beach. If she's not there, the beach is locked.
That's right. See, we can't do it. It is different. It's quite different.
We can't secure our beach.
right, this is true.
And I'm willing to bet the most destructive hours are after family sleep.
Well, they are,
No question.
they are in Turner too. People come in from the water. And she has a lot of cleanup to do.
But she hasn't had a serious incident.
Have you had any problems, Steve, so far this summer?
Some people are, they don't have stickers, they give you every excuse there is, and they lie to you, and I find them that are photocopied and hang out the review mirror. You say there's one there, go look, and there's nothing there, and next time you come, there's one there. Doesn't look like nothing we have, and they're all over their vehicles, laying on the floors, or on the back seat, or in the back, not stuck to nothing, they're just laying there. And they said that, like, kids at swim lessons here, like, a sticker on the other car, and they used to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, she has a book, and she keeps a note. of
She,
who the
person
person
Turner.
do. And when someone comes in who hasn't got their ticket from the town office, she writes down their name, and there's a page for that, and if they come again, they're not allowed in. First time they come without a permit, they're allowed in. And she writes down all the people,
Yes,
who,
yeah.
you know,
Ramsey?
it's only Turner residents. They don't allow anybody else in there.
Ramsey?
So here's the question, does the permit go with the person of the car?
person.
There's, looks like a little driver's license. I've actually been there and had somebody show me her.
I mean, this is an important.
Well, that's one thing, I think we gotta start enforcing that. I think once we start doing that, people will start getting the picture of,
In other words, you think perhaps we should try the Turner example of having people carry their card with them?
But you see, they're met at the gate. They're not even allowed to really go in unless it's the one time that they, whatever.
They forgot.
I mean, if we're gonna keep the,
Free for us, it would be free.
I think if we're gonna start, if we're gonna stick with the parking permits, we gotta start enforcing of, if they don't have a permit, you gotta leave. Once we start doing that, I think we'll have better.
Because we don't have a gate where we can stop people.
Can't possibly.
I did
Sarah's ahead of me.
Yes, Sarah?
And so what I've noticed over the course of the beach, being there myself a lot during the summer, is the lack of what the actual rule is set in stone, because I spent the past couple weeks reading over all of the rules, trying to understand them myself. There seems to be a lot of toxic communication from our community, self-appointing them to check on their neighbors at the beach, and that's causing arguments, fights, places I don't want to bring my children.
Mhm.
So overall, having the rules more clearly defined and having some of what can we do about it, who's going to be checking on this, so that neighbors don't feel like they need to check on neighbors to the point of.
And we've definitely had issues with people who are not from here. You know, just pretending that they have permission from somebody, pretending that they're a guest.
The people, Hartford people.
Yeah, Hartford people starting the fights that are causing
Yikes,
issues down there.
I've never seen that.
Because we've had no monitoring.
Thank
Right,
goodness.
so I'm more concerned with what is gonna be the fine line of monitoring at the beach, so that it can be a peaceful community area to me, because I don't wanna bring my children there when that sort of thing goes on.
Yeah. It's not-
We might have, go ahead.
Do you think it would be feasible, I don't know, there's some guidelines that were in the deed apparently about dwellings or residents on that property, to allow someone to camp there for the summer for free and be the guardian of
There
the
is a
beach
place that
in
does that.
exchange for that. And then you have constant exposure of someone there.
You're suggesting that I'm not clear that anybody would be allowed to do that according to our rules.
Camp a trailer and camp there for the summer with their family.
There is a place that does that. Can't think of it, but the person lives at the beach.
Yeah, I don't think our guidelines would allow for that, but I'd have to look at them again.
Sarah?
Maybe clearing of a few trees, to allow them to have
They
their
could
own
go right through the
campsite
gate.
right at the entrance, that they could police who comes and goes. Walk down to the beach occasionally, there in the evenings when most likely their damage is happening.
It's not a
In
nice space.
exchange, you can't come up.
Well, if we had a parking lot, we still don't have a parking lot. What we have is a cul-de-sac that everybody parks in. The God's honest truth is the town was deeded a piece of land intended to be a parking lot. This is back in what, 89 or something like that, and it's just never happened. The cost of putting it in is fairly tremendous. The select board has made a couple of false starts on getting that done, and it's just never happened. It is kind of a swampy area. It would need a lot of fill.
It's also has about 6 feet drop.
Oh, yeah. Oh, no, there's some serious issues. When I say a lot of fill, I don't mean maybe.
Yeah,
I mean a lot of fill.
Sarah?
Plus, it's a wetland and who's going to allow that?
I think Sarah was
I don't know.
first. Sarah?
The deed did say that we're not supposed to put structures up, but that I was gonna mention the parking lot also being another issue that before allowing other people in, and we are still using a cul-de-sac, and we aren't supposed to put any sort of structure up, but we also haven't fulfilled the parking lot problem. And where does that
So
stand?
we're not
What
supposed
we
to
do?
park on top of the lane.
I mean, technically, not supposed to park on Thompson Lane and shouldn't be blocking the cul-de-sac entirely either, because if one of the homes in that neighborhood got a fire and they needed to bring one of their gargantuan fire trucks down there. I mean, in the dead of summer, if somebody, say, jumped off the bridge and broke their neck and we needed to get an ambulance down there, that would be an issue too if everybody was parked in there. So.
Well, according to this paperwork, you have a white area that can be cleared for parking.
But that's the one that has a
That's-
6 foot drop.
It probably is close to a 6-foot drop and it is still wooded and it's also wetland, although but remember, if I remember right, the DEP had a lot to do with this consent agreement. Therefore,
That area
maybe,
does not show, it's not a no cut area, it's showing that you can cut. So you could put fill in there.
lots and lots and lots.
So someone could put these.
I guess what I was thinking about is parking lots, so if there's a legit place for people to put their car rather than parking on the tar.
And that's a legitimate issue, because the beach is never crowded. It's the park.
Lenny,
Yeah, I did the math. If we covered our beach at $15 an hour, for
Thank
the
you.
same number of hours per week as Turner, it would cost $555 a week.
That's Memorial Day through Labor Day.
That's
Times
per week.
times how many
I don't know
weeks
how
are we
many
talking
weeks.
about?
How many weeks are we talking about?
Um,
So, 12?
Okay, 550 times 12. And then, of course, that's the $15, but once you're a town employee, of course, there is FICA and
You just do that.
withholdings, et cetera,
Workers' comp.
all that.
Sarah,
So part of the discussion I keep hearing being argued about is who do we allow to come to the beach? The passes, who's a guest, who's not a guest, who's allowed to get a guest pass, who's not allowed to get a guest pass. So beyond enforcing that, we can't agree on who's allowed to come to the beach besides Hartford residents.
And their guests.
Right, but who's considered a guest between Airbnbs and all these other issues coming up? That there seems to be a lot of gray area on who's a guest, what qualifies as a guest, what those qualifications are, and how do you sign up for them? Because so for example, I'm a mom of little kids.
Mhm.
It's a hot day, we impulsively want to go to the beach, and they love to have their friend come over. They live on the town line, they can't come because we didn't have time to get to the town hall and get a guest pass. I can't fit extra car seats in my car to say, hey, let's go to the beach in one car. We can't go because I couldn't get a guest pass because I didn't have the foresight to see the hot weather. But people want to sign up businesses and Airbnbs, and yet, we don't have a lot of room in the cul-de-sac, and that's causing more issues. I would personally love to see us try to work on this parking before we start charging for extra guest passes and allowing all these extra people to come if we can't fit ourselves on a hot day.
that's true.
Well, that's part of the policy you're working on, correct?
Presumably. And the reason why we're even having this meeting is so that we can, and I would have to say that, a few people showed up tonight, but you represent the tip of the iceberg of how many people have an opinion on this topic. So, yeah, a lot of people would rather stay home and just grouse on Facebook, but yes, who really qualifies as a guest? That's a big question. Needless to say, I think everybody knows that for some years now, the select board has chosen to consider the swim lesson families as our guests for the remainder of the summer. If they've taken their children to swimming lessons, they've been allowed to come to the beach because this has actually improved the beach a lot by having lots of families with kids there. Families with kids there. The vandalism and damage at the beach never happens when there's families there, or really any happy
I
swimmers.
see what Sarah says too, is you allow a bunch of other people that aren't Hartford residents before we get our parking issue situated, which we already made a commitment several years ago to do this parking lot, which was not done. Right?
1989 is a lot of
1989.
several years.
That would be like, what,
The deed says
a long
91.
time. Pardon me?
The deed says 91.
Okay,
1991.
there you go. So I said 89, I was off by a couple of years, but I'm saying this is
Yeah.
kind of ancient history here.
But as we plan for budget information and other things, it seems to me that we ought to be following through on the commitment.
There seems to be passionate people willing to participate in fundraising, so we extend to our community and our neighbors and get these
Well-
swim lesson families involved and allow that, but have clear defined lines so that our community stops bickering over while they're there.
Sure enough, and I know Natasha's totally next, but let me just jump in and answer that and just say, couple of months ago, it seems like now 6 weeks at least, we had a meeting to discuss the subject of the railroad bid. And it wasn't a little piddling crowd like this. I'll tell you what, the room was pretty packed. And a lot of people had opinions and an awful lot of people were willing to volunteer and step up and help. And I don't know if any of you have taken the chance to drive down the railroad bed, but I'll tell you what, it's some different. And this is, to a huge extent, this was just community effort. And so it seems to me that we ought to be able to do something along that line for the beach. I mean,
From here to the bridge, Elizabeth and I walked it today and something then some, it's wonderful.
I do want to clarify that the railroad bed was open to anyone here that wanted to talk about the railroad bed, which is used by several communities. Our beach is owned and by the town of Hartford as at Hartford Town Beach. So this was not a workshop that we invited multiple communities out to.
well, true enough, but you know, I would
No, I'm
have to
just trying to
tell you, I would have to
clarify
say that the bulk of people who were there were people from the
Canton.
from the snowmobile club.
Sumner, yep.
But, you know, for the most part, I would have to say that, you know, 95% of them were Hartford
The more
residents.
stakeholders you get.
Right.
Well, and like I said, we ended up with good results.
Yeah.
So that's why I know I'm the one who said, well, let's just hold a public listening, not a hearing, mind you, but a
Just a
listening.
workshop.
So that we could, you know, workshop, listening, whatever you want to call it, so that we could hear from people what they're thinking. Yeah, no, Natasha's had her hand
Yeah,
up. forever,
Natasha.
and then
Well, just to run off the side of this, I think whatever we do, whatever policy we come up with, whatever parking lot we make, whatever things we charge for guest houses, is really not gonna solve the issue of people coming in and burning down porta potties and stuff. So it's not really gonna solve anything. I mean, when
well,
I
it will
was a
solve
teenager,
something. But
everybody, anybody, I mean, all the same signs were there, but everybody, and anybody was down there. There was no argument. I feel like we just kind of progressed as a town to be kind of, I don't know, more,
It's bigger.
more, I don't know how to nicely say snooty, but we kind of become that, I feel like personally. And then on the other side of it, I mean, it's a beach, people just want to go swimming, but I mean, come up with whatever policy you want. I'm just here to kind of figure out what you're doing, because I want to know firsthand rather than read about it. But on the other side of it, it's a beach, and whatever you do, I feel like it's a good thing to try to get people to do the right thing, but in the end, they're not going to do it. That feels like commonplace. People burn picnic tables back when I was a kid too. It stopped for a while, and kids get crazy again. It's kind of like now.
yeah, and it's a little hard telling who exactly.
That doesn't mean we accept it either, just because we think it's gonna happen again, or they'll be cyclical. We're still gonna try to do the right thing, and
I think the cameras would be pretty good on as far as that goes on that end, but I hope.
Well, and the other thing is, you know, I mean, there have been so many incidents, not just at the beach, but like Church Street was having way more than its share of incidents this year of people breaking in, people having things stolen, and so forth. And anytime, of course, I hear about this stuff on Facebook, and anytime you'll see me saying, please call the sheriff's department, let them know, even though you know, it seems like
You're
what a
good.
waste of time, they're not gonna show up, they're not gonna do anything. But I think there's a threshold. Like, if they have enough people calling, different people calling, saying, this happened, this happened, this happened, eventually, they're gonna have to wake up and smell the coffee.
Lenny,
Well, while we're addressing this, Pine Tree parking ordinance has problems because there are fines mentioned and towing mentioned and vehicles being impounded. And as we've talked about many times, we do not have an agreement with any place to impound vehicles.
And you know, we've looked into it but years have passed and possibly times have changed. So there is a business that would be willing to do this. The catch being that in order to impound vehicles, somebody has to have a secure
A secure facility.
impound yard.
Yeah.
You know, we're talking about high chain link fence and razor wire and the whole 9 yards evidently. So people can't jump and go inside and take their cars or whatever. But that said, our previous constable, who retired not so very long ago, seems to me that he had got a book of citations. So that, first time, okay, give us a dog and pony show and pretend you don't have a permit because you forgot it or something, like changed cars or something like that. Second time you're there without a permit, you'd get a ticket. The third time, you'd get a ticket for an even larger fine. I mean, collecting the fines might be an issue, but nonetheless, at least they're getting something.
Richard on Zoom has got something to say. Richard, go ahead.
Yeah, I got a question for you, Kathy. I think the cameras are not a bad idea, but how are you gonna keep the cameras from getting stolen?
Well, now you can buy cameras that have GPSs in them.
Aha, and then you can track them.
Right. So say if you went up and you stole a camera, we could locate it at your house.
Yeah, but they're more
Or
likely
out,
to steal.
or out in the middle of the lake if I throw it out there.
My hunting camera got
You have to
smashed.
allow
and
for
smashed on the tree.
solar, and it has to be going to somebody's cell phone. You can't be going out, checking it all the time, so.
No.
And it certainly is doable, but it needs to be up high.
It needs to be way up
Have
high.
to go to somebody who's, or sucker whose cell phone is going to go.
But my point was just that we're talking about having things that are meaningful. It's meaningless to have this parking ordinance say that your car will be towed and it'll be impounded, et cetera, and that is never.
It's not
gonna happen.
enforced, yeah.
So that isn't good language.
Is that-
And what year was that?
Okay, well,
Is that ours or Pine Shores? Is that the
well,
one
it's
for?
Town of Hartford Pine Shores parking ordinance. Is
But of
what
course, it
says.
was
2011.
cooked up by the folks from Pine Shores, of course.
They are the stakeholders.
Yeah, go ahead, Elizabeth.
So I'd like to know if you have a book where you write down, what people, their first offense and so on like that.
I keep track of my phone plate numbers and even the paper. The plates that should be there, people that do have permits and turn down. People
Or
that
you
say
should
they.
write down what, if they're not got, somebody hasn't got their permit.
So you do have a list.
How many have you written down that came to the town beach without a permit?
More than half.
But I want the number.
You should speak through the moderator, actually,
I'd
not.
say out of 10 people, 5 people have a permit, that's
And how do you know who the car belongs?
You should speak through
Yeah.
through Kathy, not amongst yourselves, just to make it.
The town has a copy of the plate number. Registered in town of Hartford.
See, I took pictures of license plates of people who didn't have stickers, and I was told that there was nothing you could do about that.
That's why we're trying to rein this all in.
Who told you? Oh, Leanne,
I
yeah.
cannot give out any registration information.
Well, I wasn't asking for it.
I mean,
But
why
the
take-
constable should have it. That's
Yeah,
why I
no,
took the
I don't
pictures.
know. Yeah, I don't know how to go about that.
They're real logistical problems.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it is.
Because it's a long way to the beach.
Yes.
So you'd almost have to have somebody up and somebody down.
Natasha?
I think I just want to make a comment on that, like, when we have other people beside the constable checking out on who's there, and who's not there, I think we're kind of then like subdividing the constable workout, and maybe we should just save it for just the constable.
Maybe we should be responsible citizens who contribute. The constable can't be there
All the time.
all the time.
Sarah?
But it's these concerned citizens that are causing the arguments that are making it not welcoming for my family and others that I've spoken to. Some can be here, some other, like, that's part of the ongoing problem is concerned citizens taking it upon themselves.
Elizabeth and I have done that, and no fights have broken out. People
Are you
have
talking
been-
about one specific incident?
People have been rude in response, but, you know, we can't control that.
No, it's a big problem.
If I see somebody's pit bull running around the
Would you
beach,
call on this
loose
lady
around
with
other
glasses,
people's
'cause
children,
she's
Cindy.
say something.
Cindy?
If you buy your sticker from Leanne at the office, and that sticker is not attached to your car, visible, they should get a ticket.
Right,
If it's on the floor, that's not his fault.
right, that's right.
So there should be no exception if that sticker is on your vehicle, because it's registered with Leanne for your plate number and then that's the key thing.
I would sticker on my car.
And if he
Well-
finds it twice, they get 2 tickets.
It used to be that,
But how does he know who that person is? It doesn't matter. He gets, finds a ticket and they drive away and that's the last you see of him. But he's got the plate number.
Where do we get those
Worst case
tickets?
scenario, you go to the Oxford County Sheriff's Department. I bet you can't do that. I think that's a violation of privacy.
Somebody who's in law enforcement can get a book of citations.
what used to.
And I'm pretty sure
be
that-
happening was
Pretty sure
they
Chuck
punched
had a book of
the,
citations.
Really?
stickers and put an elastic.
Ticket citation.
Right, put them on the mirror.
Okay.
So they weren't.
I'll ask him.
on the- I put mine on the and,
That's the intent.
yeah,
That's the intent.
almost every time I go.
Need a gavel?
This past year, every car has.
Okay.
Cars are-
Lee.
are-
Lee got something to say.
So the idea of punching a hole and putting an elastic so you could put it on this car or that car came from a previous town clerk, Becky.
Yes.
She thought it was a great idea and she just started doing it. It wasn't a policy decision on the behalf of the select board. It was just something that seemed like a good idea at the time.
Right, but that's confusing to people.
Confusing as all get out. And on top of that, it gives somebody the right to give their sticker to, well, whoever feels like using it.
I thought at one
Mine is
time,
stuck on my car.
I thought at one
consider it
time,
Hartford pride.
I thought at one time, to me, that sticker's too big. I won't stick it on my windshield. It is too
I don't have a
gloomy,
windshield, I
too
have a
big.
It's not supposed to be.
I thought at one time, maybe, wonder if we got stickers like Buckfield and some of the transfer station has down there, little square stickers like this, and you can put it in the corner of your windshield and leave it,
Like we had for the transfer.
leave it there.
They have a number. They know who the sticker was issued.
And I would think that would be a lot better than these big gommed ones, but
I know you said
See, I'm
big
not-
gum, but
I'm
they're
not-
actually
I'm
quite
not-
attractive.
I'm actually quite proud of mine.
They're a beautiful sticker.
I won't stick
I
it.
get it, they're
It's
bigger.
too big.
The other thing with the stickers is that many people have, they go to work in one car, they have another car that they bring to the beach. And they
I have to,
switches.
yeah, and both of my cars have stickers.
So,
They have to be-
anyway, so
It's
this
only
is-
$5 for God's sake. That won't even buy you the fanciest coffee.
Get more than one sticker.
But
for
it's
your car.
ridiculous. People are gonna come up with an excuse no matter what. Well, I bought a car 3 years ago and my sticker's in my old car. I mean, at some point, people need to be responsible for their own actions. They showed up at the beach without a permit, they need to get a ticket.
It would be great.
But we haven't enforced it.
Have you talked-
We've not enforced it, so we need to come up with a plan to
And on
enforce
the
it.
hottest days of the summer, if there are 3 California license plates up there in the cul-de-sac.
Oh, goodness.
And the constables that work, responsible citizens, really, I think, should say, excuse me, is that your vehicle with a California plate? This is a private beach. I think
Tasha?
that's appropriate. You can't just rely on the constable.
Mhm.
You're out there
If
for
we,
time.
Right.
if we can give Steve some flyers, if the select board can arm him with some tools to help him do a good job. When we decide what we're
You know,
gonna do to
something to
enforce.
tuck under people's windshield wiper.
To say, from,
Natasha.
thank you for having your permit. This is gonna be required every time you come. So they know we were here, even though they have their permit in the window. Or one that says, Hartford requires that you have your permit.
Yeah,
We have
and-
marked your license plate. Please do not come to the beach again without your permit.
Well, and we're talking
So they know
earlier,
he was here.
speaking earlier about signage, you know, one sign that says no parking without a valid permit wouldn't hurt. You know, I mean, it does say residents only and no dogs and blah, 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 but if it's all in one,
That's a new rule.
if
There's
it's
like 15 signs up there and half of
Someone
them are faded. They
yeah,
can't
well,
even read them.
that's right, and if they say,
No,
and if all the rules are listed on one, then people are not gonna read that. far.
Natasha,
I agree, with yeah, have your permit on your car when you get there, but personally, I would like something that can be taken off. I'm not the only one that works in town, and there are sketchy people who pick out vehicles and say, oh, you're from the town of this, you're from the town of this. And so when I go into work on Saturday night, I do not like my vehicle. There have been people who will follow me home, they're weird people. Then back to concerned citizens, I feel like on an occasion where there was California plates in the parking lot, on one instance when that happened and a concerned citizen approached that person was there legally by Hartford policy with a Hartford residence. And all it did was create a very uncomfortable situation when there was nothing going on that was wrong because everybody was there with a Hartford resident completely legal.
But that person's supposed to have something on their bid.
Right, and so at that time, I explained that I had talked to this person on stuff for specifically asked about the situation. If I could have this person, this was 2 years ago, and I was given the right, yes, go enjoy the beach because, and at the time we were in between, we didn't have land, we didn't have that, we didn't have Barbara, there was nobody there specifically at the time, so we didn't have a complete person to give out passes at the time. And it was a completely legal situation that was made uncomfortable by a concerned citizen.
Yes, and that concerned citizen was me,
okay.
and I stayed by it. Do we or do we not want our beach to be for Hartford citizens? And if we see plates from out of state, shouldn't we ask? You know,
I would think.
Yeah.
if you don't want me to care
Yeah.
about the beach, I won't, but I do care
Yeah.
about the beach. And if we really want it to be for Hartford people and people who have been in swim lessons, if you're doing the right thing, it should not be uncomfortable for somebody to say, gee, I saw California plates, is that yours? You know, do you have a
Okay.
guest pass? And
Oh.
we always have coverage in the job office. Isaac worked there, I worked there.
Okay, hold on. Leanne's got something to say.
The office wasn't open all the time when Isaac was here. I know that from my
Right.
daughter. And Steve, do you mind phone calls from people instead of them approaching people at the beach? Maybe call you, so when you have time, you can go check it out.
Well, it probably needs to be worked out by the select board in their policy.
Yep.
If you don't want anybody but Steve saying things.
I've got other people that
It does bring up this very uncomfortable thing to expect you to go up to your neighbor.
It's not uncomfortable for me.
Oh.
Because they're not my neighbor.
Well, that would be- what else would you say? What, tell me how, you know,
Yeah.
Park there, put a sticker on it, what do you think?
I've even asked someone before and they always just say, well, I'm here for with so-and-so and whatever.
So how about this, a new registration year when it comes, get a nice little stickers like you want, with numbers on them, sign for that specific vehicle. And then it's all over. If that vehicle with another sticker on it, I'm sure I get a list from her, you guys, with that sticker, it's with plate number, points, that's it, nobody's name, no nothing. It doesn't line up with that, then.
Get
So
out.
when on hot days, when there are 10 cars in the parking lot and 2 have stickers, what happens? We call you? Because that would be 8 cars with no stickers, remember that?
Yeah, I remember. Yeah,
And then there's no room for Hartford people.
But
You don't
we're
mind
hoping with the new
calling.
process and Steve having more, being hired for more time as part of his constable duties. It's one of the reasons why we have today's meeting, so that we can set some things in place so that people can have an enjoyable time at the beach.
To
without
help
any
us,
pressure.
or to help us, or to help us think well about this.
Right,
Dan.
I'm probably here 2 weeks and because I heard some conversations in the past about the beach giving it up to back to Pine Shore. So I'm glad that's not been brought up.
No.
We did receive an email at our last meeting, a correspondence at our last meeting from somebody who suggested that we could solve the whole problem by just selling the beach to Pine Shores, and then we could take the money and use that for another trash
Was that a
pickup.
joke, or was that some serious?
Well, it certainly seemed that way to me, but I think they were perfectly serious.
Okay.
But we weren't, they weren't.
Yeah, so I'm glad that conversation went well. The second one is that I heard a comment, I'm sorry.
Susan.
I see, yeah. That you're gonna raise fees, and I was really curious as to why we're not paying any financial.
Absolutely.
Accounting or anything like that. Is that gonna solve, obviously, there's a lot of issues here. Some are minor, some are large.
Yeah.
I think you have plenty of time till next year.
I think so.
People have that time, and that's your
That's right.
responsibility.
That's
And
right.
I'd just like to see that. I'd like to see something.
Can I
forward.
speak to that?
That's all.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Just, no,
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, so the thing about fees, it's not quite the same as taxes, because if we expect every taxpayer to pay for every little thing about the beach, which is kind of how we've done things in the past, then people like myself, I've got a beach sticker, but I never actually made it down there this summer because I've been too busy working to actually get to the beach. But I think there's quite a few people who actually don't use that beach. If we have some schedule of fees for using the beach, whether it's, I mean, $5 for a lifetime of beach sticker is pretty damn cheap. But if it was anything like a reasonable amount, I'll say it was $10 a year per person, or a Turner, I believe, is $15 a year per, family unit. That would actually be a small revenue stream that would be paid by the actual users of the beach that could go towards, say, hiring somebody to mind the beach. The idea is that we're not charging everybody for something that only a few people are using. And if it's a little bit more based on user fees, then it ends up being a little bit more fair.
Does any of our town monies go to the beach?
Pardon me?
Does any of our town tax monies go to the beach?
Not a heck of a lot.
I don't see the report on it. So I don't really-
Not a heck of a lot. Well, it's in the town report every year. But, a small amount of it goes to the recreation committee, who have been minding most of the beach stuff.
So it's a user friendly.
And then I was just noticing that we have a report on the spending of the ARPA funds, the American Rescue Plan Act funds that came to the town. We had 128,000. Most of it went into culverts, but a small amount of it has $5,000 has gone towards access to the beach, which would basically help to repair the boardwalk, etc.
And fix the beach. We
Yeah,
talked about.
It's all about accessibility.
Now, picnic tables, a comma was added that had been left out.
Right, but this is about, but even picnic tables is about accessibility, isn't it?
The beach, yeah.
Makes it, it just makes it.
Initially, it was worded that.
Beach.
Just.
In any case, that's $5,000 that came from the feds that was earmarked for the beach. So some funds, but not a great lot. Not a great lot. And that's part of why we were saying, yeah, well, we kind of meant to build a parking lot, but, or, yeah, it would be nice to have somebody there to monitor the beach, but, like, where's the money going to come from? So if it was based a little bit more on user fees, it might be a little bit more reasonable.
As far as a parking lot, the town road commission, we have access to that. We pull waste oil or,
And we've talked about it before, but there hasn't, all I can say is since 1991, evidently, there hasn't been enough will to actually make it happen. Or we've had too much else on our plate or whatever. I mean, excuses are, I don't need to go any further, but we've all got excuses. But, it hasn't happened
I just
yet.
want to know what's going to happen, that's all. And we're here for a reason, and I think that, we should progress and, being able to use our beach properly.
Absolutely.
There was
Absolutely.
at
Cindy.
one point at a select board meeting, discussion of charging everybody in town when they register their vehicle. So that is, he is bringing up something that was agreed, that At one meeting that was discussed. I don't remember when.
Cindy?
How many other accesses besides the cul-de-sac are there that people are using coming into the beach? You know?
There are some trails down by the old
Cemetery.
trestle, by the trestle.
Richard
How
has this.
much would it cost to put fencing across or some kind of a gate that'll stop those people from using our beach across the?
Chain link fence down that end?
All the entrances.
Yeah.
Let's go around the creek.
How do you do a search on it?
Well, you know, I
It
mean,
have to be the whole length.
the catch is that you could do that to prevent some land access, but the fact of the matter is, it's a hell of a long beach and anyone could go around. Or
Water.
come by boat, be it kayak, be it canoe, be it
But
raft.
I think a lot of your people who are causing the issues at night or
Right.
after hours are using these trails maybe to come in. 'Cause they don't-
Not just maybe,
Yeah, well.
not just maybe.
So would it be worth it to try to come up with, hey, even have Bill go down and put rocks on our property that would stop people from coming in with vehicles?
They'd probably go around the other side of the trestle.
Well, not with a
They have to go through
four-wheeler
the water
Well,
though.
not
Yeah.
the four-wheelers, they probably make a trail.
They have-
into the water.
But most of your common thieves are lazy. They don't-
Four-wheelers will go in the water.
Well, I don't know too many common thieves, so I don't know that for a fact, but I'll take your word for it.
Richard's got a question here on Zoom. Richard?
Just a suggestion. It seems to me that the most likely time for deviltry is in the evening. And Lee was talking about maybe hiring somebody for a small amount of hours. And if you could have somebody there for the last 2 hours before sunset, and maybe while they're there, if there's trash left and so forth, they could pick that up. And then maybe come back early in the morning for an hour to see if anybody came in after dark and raised hell, and get a chance to report it. You could do that for like 3 hours a day. And I don't know what you'd have to pay somebody hourly, but Lee was talking about, having some oversight. Well, that would seem to me like a possible way to do it.
It's been brought.
Thank you.
I don't want to
Thanks.
tag on me necessarily, but.
Tasha?
So we just gave them, go and clear some land, because we make up with too. And that's what, and then do this, if you do that, by next summer.
I was gonna ask him
In his
about
spare
that
time.
after he gets done with the roads. To see what he,
Assuming the snow
Maybe
hasn't
he can
flown
work
by.
with
then.
Right.
Steve to
see what he
some
says,
ideas together.
what his thought is about it.
But you are, not good.
So I think, one of the things about this meeting is we're a little scattered because, in fact, we're talking about parking
It's
issue.
ideas.
We're talking about the trails issue. There are multiple issues. I mean, this is like an octopus. Cut one leg off and and the other one's just still waving. You know what I'm
Ramsey,
saying?
Just to put this in perspective, this vandalism stuff is really intolerable and it may get worse. But this has happened about 3 times in 30 some odd years. This is not like it's an ongoing problem.
Although it certainly
is a problem.
seems pretty bad this summer. It has seemed pretty bad this year.
This year it seemed bad, particularly combined with the other church streets stuff. It looks like a something else. So who knows, maybe it is a something, but the fact, I was talking with Nickerson's today and she said, man, that happened again, didn't it, about 20 years ago?
yeah,
I said, yeah. It's not like every day, it's not like every year.
When Kathy and I were walking the
Almost
trails,
everything
we
is
saw an illegal broken up bridge. And we saw few places, but one stood out in my mind where there was a fire pit and a couch, and they even had a trash can for their beer cans. This is up in the woods. I don't know if it's part of the beach.
No, that's private property.
Yeah.
If, as dry as it was, that was kind of scary. There were random places where there were fires.
Okay, we have time for one more queen, Natasha.
I think it's everywhere too. I think we should do like the old problem first, which seems like a parking issue. We should focus on getting parking on. That's what we're supposed to do. Let's find somebody to their land.
We'll try that. I'm gonna ask Bim, see what he thinks.
Yeah, I think the last,
Brandon's good
the
at
the
that.
last time the select board started to work on, or think hard about that, I won't say work on it, it's too strong a word, but they started to think hard on that was back when Jack Plumley was on the board.
Well, if you'd seen all the rocks they pulled up Pratt Hill Road,
Ken?
that would fill it.
I think another good idea that was
What?
brought up is getting parking stickers without having the plate number on them. And just issue a parking sticker, starting with number 1. Whenever anyone wants one, you can get 2 or 3. If you have 2 or 3 cars, $5 a piece, keep it minimal charge. And attach that number to a list that Leanne can give to the constable, and let the constable know who that person is, so that you can deal with it that way. If you can't get plate numbers through Oxford County, there's no sense putting plate number on the
No.
sticker.
No, but,
Lynn,
man,
You can see if they match the car.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See if they match the car.
Right.
The car is
But if your
issued-
sticker is stuck on the
sticker
car,
is
then it's not
issued to
missing.
a car. Number 1 sticker is issued to plate number this, and this. So that plate is transferred, I guess that sticker, if they can feel it off the windshield, make it so you have to put it on your vehicle. You can't put it on a string, move it from vehicle to vehicle. It
Yeah.
attaches to a plate number.
I don't think that is necessarily a terrible problem.
Well, to be able to control
right, Sarah?
consistently.
Yeah.
Who should be there? And the parking lot issue, to me, those are 2 good points.
Yeah,
We have, for the
Sarah?
lessons, we have
Would it be
name,
worth
phone
appointing
number,
a team
number.
to spearhead this parking lot?
We can't.
If it's too much for the select board to run themselves, if that's something that's been hard to maintain, because it is a big project, would it be worth trying to get some volunteers to spearhead this project and make sure it gets done this time? With the partnership of the select board. like-
Well, I like the way you think, because that might be the kind of thing where having an ad hoc committee to focus on that would be really helpful. Something to think about. The other thing to think about is, it is 6:59 and we need to start a select board meeting. Not that you're not all perfectly welcome to stick around, but we've got this whole long list of town business we have to attend to. So,
thank you for coming.
yeah, thank you all for coming.
I'm on Zoom right there at my house.
Okay,
You are?
Wow.
No, I'm afraid it would be too hard to log in. So I didn't.
Oh, so you've been logged in the whole time? Well, have a good evening.
Let's see.
it'll be a long one.
I'll be right back. I'm gonna get my notes.
Yeah,
I'm missing some of the,
What's that?
I thought I signed it. Here I did. You're the only one who hasn't. Oh. We're jumping the gun,
okay,
sorry.
good, sorry.
You have something to drink? I brought some spare, sparkling water if you want some.
Good, I got soda.
Where do I go?
And then- Good. There's a lot of rocks on that Pratt Hill Road. We could use them to go fill in the beach parking lot. I got pictures of rock going all the way up the ditch. I couldn't believe you guys already moved that. That'd be great.
Talking the beach area that they want to clear.
Yes.
was supposed to be done years ago. If we do
Like
that,
somewhere between 89 and 91, right?
we didn't get into the study on it. If we tie that in right, in the future, we got a mile on Church Street, we don't want to work, there's gonna be a lot of good carryover. Yeah. Bring it
Well,
up to,
it seems to me.
and it wouldn't cost you anything from here.
I remember you saying that once quite some while ago.
We cut the,
Get that wood, cut that area out of there and stop that, and then we'll use that whole ditching material to get you up to a grade.
Because it's gonna come up quite a ways. Call me daughter.
And it's pretty good material along the side of the Church Street there, it's, you know, it's not like it's a garage.
And the rocks that are in the middle of the church.
We usually haul them off somewhere else.
701.
okay,
Area was built.
we'll call a meeting to order, 7:01. We approve the minutes of September 15, 2022 Selectmen's Meeting. Everybody have a chance to go over them?
Yes. Move for the 30 minutes. September 15th.
Okay,
Is there a second?
can I hear a second? Second it. All approve? Favor?
There's no,
No what?
no number 8 warrant.
Oh, okay. And we approve warrant 7 and payroll warrants of September 21st, 2022, September 28th, 2022, and October 5th, 2022. You will second it?
I'll second that.
All in favor? We have reports. RSU 10 report.
Yes, I never did get to see the last meeting. I don't know what happened, but I never did get to see it. The next meeting is the 11th. It's on a Tuesday because Monday's a holiday, and it's at Mountain Valley High School.
Yeah. Thank you.
So, the last vote the school board had in June to build a new school,
Yeah,
one of the towns up that way didn't post something.
So they
on
gotta
time.
re-vote it?
Yes. So I need signatures on all of these so we can post them.
Appropriately.
so they gotta vote all over again.
There's,
Yeah, some town got fined $40,000.
Town got fined $40,000 for that? Which
I
town?
don't know if that was it, but there was a town, it showed it on the computer on Facebook, where they got fined $40,000 for something to do with not letting people speak or something. I don't know.
What do we
It
sign?
was, but that was not good.
if you just want to sign one, I can copy it, but
Mm.
there's several.
Oh, then.
I'll just photocopy that one, it's fine.
Yeah, I heard that had happened.
There are bunches and bunches we need to sign.
I'll just photocopy the top one. They're all the same. I think they're all
Okay.
copied. So it's just how they sent them to me.
Okay,
This has the file, Leanne file.
Because this is actually the input here, so. there we go.
So do you want to make a motion just to make sure we don't mess up for this election to accept that warrant?
Yeah, I make a motion that we accept that school board
Warrant
warrant
for
for the budget
budget referendum. is it?
referendum coming up.
I second that.
All in favor? Good.
I can't wait.
Road report. Is it? Jim has finished up Green Acres Road. Green Acres Road has been completed, gravel was added, and the road is ready to pave if we decide to do so. Pratt Hill Road culverts are being replaced, and we are ditching and digging out wet areas and backfilling with gravel. A top 500 feet will be paved this fall, and other work will be done this fall and spring. The Perry Road will be paved in about 2 weeks, and also the top end of Pratt Hill Road. We should discuss paving Green Acres Road to the intersection of Gauding Road. It would cost about $55,000, and we would have to move the money from fund balance at a town meeting. The price is only good for this fall while they are in town.
Can
Okay.
Vic explain that?
Yeah, so let's just go back to the Perry Road and the top of Pratt Hill. Our $1.4 million bond, we're at 1.2 something right now. We have available about 130,000, or maybe a couple thousand more. Of that 1.4 million, it was originally set up that there was going to be some base work and dirt work out of that. And the figures that they have on tonnage put Northeast paving at about 1.2 something on the hot top part of it. That they're willing to honor up to what the contract that we signed with them, which is about another $120,000. We have 130,000 about left before we hit the 1.4 million that we borrowed. We have about 130. Base it in the Perry Road with a nice base. We need to base that in with a base and let it set at least one frost season. And if we pave the top of Pratt Hill, from the top down to where we put the first big culvert in, I'm uncomfortable with paving beyond those culverts because they need to set one winter for a frost season. It's about 500 feet on the top of Pratt Hill. So if we, in 2 weeks, if we do, we're gonna pave the Perry Road, and we'll come over and do 500 feet down the top of Pratt Hill. That takes care of people coming up there and get up into the road, that'll all be paved. That's gonna put us at about 120 something on, depending on tonnage, a little what I asked them to do here and there. We're gonna be paying them about 120 something, we have about 130, so that's gonna wrap up our bond. While they were in town, I just met one today, while we were in town today, I said, come with me, let's go look at the Green Acre Road, that we just ditched it, took care of all the issues,
It's beautiful.
pretty much all the way to the Gauding Road intersection, where you turn to go Hermit Lane or Gauding Road or straight up to Craskins. I said, give me a number on that, because we're gonna be having an upcoming town meeting here right off, because of the paper that you turned in, we have to do that. Leanne had mentioned at one time that there's a possibility if they wanted to lower that fund balance down some, that money could be transferred, but that has to take a town meeting.
Well,
I don't care, will we pay Gauding Road, Green Acres Road or not, it's ready. They offered us a hell of a deal today. they said they got to go up $15 a ton. If they're in town doing that, they'll go up there for an additional $15 a ton, which puts you at 80-something dollars a ton for paving. They've did all that job this summer. They've done over $100 a ton, 110 a ton. He said they won't do that next spring. He said, if while you're in town, you want to take advantage and they could tie that into one of the end jobs of, and he gave me a price, he said it would be just under 50,000 to do from 140 all the way to Garden. I don't see the point of paving Garden up. Green Acres only halfway. The road's ready because I replaced those other culverts a couple of years ago. I don't see any point of only going halfway. So, and $50,000 is a cheap price to pave that because people are paying that if their driveway's done.
Right.
So if they,
It's true.
if
I know.
it comes right on timing with your special town meeting that you're gonna have to have, if you wanted an article in there to transfer 50 over, we could probably get that done. And that's a cheap price to pay that.
Yeah,
So,
Because they've committed, right? They committed to like a $70 a
they're
ton.
committed
It's
to
on the
another
road. Contract.
$120,000 at $72 a ton.
$72.
Paving's $30 a ton more than that this year. They're willing to do it while we're in town for 15 more, which puts you at 80-something a ton. But it's a good deal. It's a really good deal. And you'd be paid from 140 all the way to the Gaudi intersection. That's totally up to the townspeople, whether they want to transfer that over and get it done. I don't know how quickly you're gonna have the town meeting for the other article that came in.
Well,
We
it
want-
that kind of depends on when the petition came in. And I did, the first I saw about it was, nobody told me about it until I saw it on the,
That's
because it
agenda.
came in after the last meeting.
That's not my part. I know that you've got to have it within a certain length of time. If you,
60 days
if
from
you-
when it arrived, but I don't know when it
If you
arrived.
got right around and got it
Quick.
as soon as possible, and you put the choice on there for people, just one article, if they wanted to transfer it over to pave the Green Acre Road, that would be one article you could get in there, and it might tie in so they would do it while they're here. I guess that's about all I can say about roads. So when you make a decision on setting a date for your special town meeting, you could include
Then
that.
we'll have to write up a warrant and,
You can
we
include
can
that one
include that.
article, and if it's done soon enough, and people accept it.
Yeah, there could be
I can go
numerous
either way.
things that are
I just
special.
think that's a really good deal. And if you might want to consider grabbing that deal. and
I
doing
hear
it.
you.
Your other articles that you're gonna have to have on your special town meeting, could I get this? You know, I don't know how soon you wanna make it happen. I mean, if
Well-
you drag your feet and.
No, I don't want to,
If you drag your feet and push it as far as.
Right,
you
I think,
can,
we hear you.
we're gonna be
then-
lost.
Then
We hear
you're
you.
gonna miss your opportunity to take
Sure.
the meeting.
Right.
Okay, so,
You have a question, Lee?
I sure do. When did that petition come in?
It's on the agenda for later on in the meeting, but I can.
I'll just ask you when it came in because it's, we have 60 days to hold that special town
Yeah,
meeting.
it's on the agenda.
She said it was after our last meeting.
The other thing is, Pam, are you planning to stick around? Or are you gonna
Maybe.
shove off?
9/21/22.
I guess the answer would be more than two, but hold on.
22.
I would love for you to say.
So, but when you have the warrant, I know Leanne's waiting for you, for her tax commitment, you guys have to sign a warrant for that, and I don't know whether you're gonna just wait for the next selectman meeting to do it, or are you gonna try to sign it for her so she can get tax bills out before the next selectman meeting, or you just gotta go with the next
What are you
selectman
planning
meeting?
on?
I like to do it as soon as we
The
can.
time factor on the paving is important. If you don't care about the paving, I guess it doesn't matter.
Well, I don't believe committing taxes is the same as having a warrant for a town meeting. Committing
Well, no,
taxes
but
is something that
no,
usually
but
happens.
She wanted to get it done so she could get her tax bills done.
Well, sure, I understand about that, but I don't know that they're
They could
related.
both be tied in together on the same thing.
I guess I
Same,
don't,
you would have to have a selectmen's meeting for both of these items, commit taxes and sign the warrant. What do you see?
oh, okay, because I wasn't sure.
Well, you've got the article that I would like, of the paving article to be put on there. You've got the article that Jeff is presented, do the petition. And you've got to discuss whether what you're gonna do before you obviously create the right warrant.
We got the capital outlay CD.
Right, we have the subject of the capital outlay CD. There's also, if I'm not mistaken, there was a minor wording problem with the shoreline zoning ordinance that could be addressed at the same time, because that has to be addressed at a special town meeting, being an ordinance. So there's that, there's the
You
Darrington
need a
Road.
hearing for that.
Well, there you go. So maybe that has to wait till next year anyhow, just because of needing to hear it. But in any case, I'm just remembering things that
Them three
need to
things.
see a town meeting.
Alternate committee members.
That's not a town meeting issue.
Yeah.
I don't think
Is
so.
that Leanne?
We're not there yet, but
Is it a-
all the committee ordinances that we did have included wording for alternates. The new ordinance does not.
So doesn't the town have to vote
If there was an ordinance change, there is, but my understanding is that ultimately that was in the purview of the select board to determine.
If those other articles that you gotta take care of aren't important, I mean, they're all important, but if you're not looking at a time issue, why couldn't you wait on those till another selectmen meeting and just deal with the payment request that I had and the petition that just has on the special town meeting? And get those out of the way, the others you probably have a little bit
Okay,
of time
so,
and flexibility.
Yeah, the other thing is, have you heard from Mike O'Donnell? in
He'll be
terms
here
of-
Tuesday.
He's gonna be here Tuesday. Okay.
If you want to bring this up, you want to decide on this now because it's on the agenda way down.
Well, that's kind of part of why I was asking Bim if he was gonna stick around.
Well, the way I'm looking at it, and tell me if I'm wrong, but if we dealt with the two issues that are kind of important to right now, the paving one and the one that opens up the petition, if you dealt with them on a warrant that you just stopped by the town office and had your selectmen meeting, got the warrant so you can post it and get the town meeting in order and a date. The other two, I mean, Leanne probably could wait on the tax commitment until 2 weeks till the next regular selectmen meeting. If you could tie it in with it, it would be fine, but I mean, you said O'Donnell's not gonna come until Friday or
Tuesday.
Tuesday. So, I mean,
Do you
I
want
guess
to?
that doesn't, I don't know whether that's important enough right this minute to feel that you want to wait till the regular selectmen meeting, which will be in 2 weeks, and you get this other two issues in the work so they can be moving. All it involves really is you having a calling yourselves
Transfer.
a selectmen meeting and signing, giving Leanne the information for the petition and the payment, and she could get it posted so that we could get the town meeting going.
Well, and here's where, you know, I mean, I know I
Natasha, what do you got?
Do people on that live on the road want their roads to be paved, or do they?
Green Acres,
What's that?
What he's talking about for the extra, do people on the road want their roads to be paved, or do they like their roads? Some people like their roads, but some people like these roads. Could be back then. I mean, I don't like to see for them.
Was it paid before?
Well, there were two.
Yes.
There were
It's
two.
only paid-
comments.
I'm
There's
kind
only
of
paid-
assuming that
just
will
beyond
that
Green
paid because we're right in front of Diane Irvin's house and Hoffman and the Vanessa and dust is an issue on a dirt road. And it's going from, even though.
But beyond that, it's not
even though
necessarily
the
an
road
issue.
was a complete wreck, at least it didn't have dust issues. And now
Right.
we're going to have dust issues.
Right, so it's better to be paved.
Yeah,
At least beyond Green
Sections
Acres, but
only
not
go
necessarily
halfway.
whole.
Let's just go to the intersection and then we're tying these things in.
And what is the price difference between going as far as it used to be paved and going all the way to the intersection?
I'm gonna
It's
guess
gotta
it-
be better than double the distance, right?
I'm gonna guess that it's probably half the distance, but it's almost senseless. So
It's the
why
money.
do 25 and 50, you have the whole thing done.
There were two raises for
No,
the,
you'll never get it that cheap again.
That's right.
there were
If
two.
you decide to not do that this fall, next year when you do put it out for bid, you'll probably be paying about 110 a ton.
Okay, Leanne,
There were two praises received by email on the work that was done on Green Acres Road. One was from a resident there. They're very happy with the road. So, you know.
Yeah,
good.
so I just,
Leanne. Yeah. Natasha,
I was wondering what petition they're talking about is, what was it, or what group?
well, your neighbor here lives on the upper end of Darrington Road and he would like to have it plowed in the winter. And that's why I'm hoping that Ben will stick around, because once we actually get to that subject, what I wanted to know is, I mean, I was, that's why I texted you and asked if we could get together, because I would like to have a fiscal note on that. I'd like to have a sense of how much it's gonna cost to bring that road up to condition, but we have plenty of time, I guess, to talk about that.
yeah,
In any case,
We need to have
So-
plenty of time to talk about it. We're gonna have to make a decision on it tonight.
we don't have to
No.
make a decision on how much it's gonna cost. We have a petition, we have 60 days to respond to
Yeah,
that
we
petition.
can't have a petition to open it for plowing and not have some type of dollar figure to bring it up into standing enough to plow.
Right, which is why I've been after you to try and get together with you at some point. But, you know,
Yeah,
I'm
you-
just,
You called me and said you wanted to talk to me, but you didn't tell me that it was to do with that. but
well,
we-
no, I
we-
didn't, but
We've, obviously gotta have some type of dollar figure with
we'll want to
that
know.
adequate.
You know, I mean, folks will want to know. In any case, the subject of Green Acres Road, my thinking is, you know, once you get past the Vanessa establishment, Green Acres establishment, the dust is kind of a non-issue. And when I think about what that paved road looked like from lack of maintenance and patches on top of patches, what that road was like compared to once you get past there to the part that was graded, it was beautiful.
It's not even worth trying to say the difference to not go to the intersection.
Right.
We even leave it dirt, the entire thing, or pave it to the intersection. Let's not nickel and dime over something that small.
be one part done.
Guys, people paying $50,000 get their driveway.
I hear you.
I just
hear
paid
you.
8,000
For
And
yours?
you ain't get
for
very
driveway
long.
done.
Your driveway's not very long.
That's
either, is it?
right.
How long ago was that?
Couple years.
Wow, look at the prices since then.
But you guys just paid a lot.
4 times what you paid.
Yeah. $32,000.
Wow.
Which driveway was that?
So 55,000 is the house.
Beyond Mac Wallace's place.
You don't look at your maintenance costs. what's your maintenance cost, you're gonna go down tremendously.
Well,
State and all
these
that.
dirt roads, we all think turning back to dirt is a great thing. And for us back here 5 years ago, when I ground up half the town at all,
Anybody on here
because
got
we
any
were
questions?
spending that volume money on just tap patching, which is senseless. And I turned it back to dirt, but there's a dirt road requires a different amount of maintenance. You gotta grade it, you gotta add material, you've got a lot of erosion issues, even though it's just, there's a lot of maintenance to these dirt roads. And I'm not for paving dirt roads that aren't in shape or brought up to be able to be paved. But I've done a lot of work on that Green Acre Road from Vanessa's to the intersection. I put new culverts in, it's been ditched, it's ready to be paved.
Sarah?
I think I would have appreciated the courtesy being asked, or like knowing that I didn't know when my road was being up for paving. And there were beautiful culverts and it was functioning well, and now that it is paved, it's being developed and exploding and everybody drives crazy. And so I think talking, like, is there any sort of formal notice that goes out to someone who lives on a road that's up for a major improvement like that?
Generally not.
Usually we try to kind of monitor what we're getting for calls and the complaining on these roads.
Worst roads.
Perry Road is a high call, when are you gonna fix it, when are you gonna
High
do something?
very high complaint.
And, you know, we kind of go by that.
Green Acres
I
was
mean,
starting to
the
be.
thing- The thing is, here, you know, all these back roads in these towns, and there's no one gonna prevent it. There's more and more people moving in here.
I got a question for you guys. Has anybody rode on Sumner roads? If you rode on
Enough
Sumner's
said, ain't
back
it?
roads?
Wasn't terrible, there's like 5 of us.
Sarah, where do you live?
Howard Road.
Just at the beginning.
I think we get
And the old guy on that road always said, for years, he says, I will never probably live to see this road paved.
I think we got that part of town. in pretty
And he
good
did
shape.
manage to live, he
We've got
won't
the
live,
Howard
live
Road
with it paved
State,
that way.
Yeah.
Edge Road, Line Road, you know, River Hill, we've done pretty well down at that end of town.
Yeah, go ahead, Sarah.
As soon as our road got paved, the property at the end of the road sold and is being developed commercially.
He wants to turn that barn into like a wedding ceremony.
Wedding venue.
Yeah. But I think that would have happened anyways, even if it wasn't paved.
Driving speeds and such would have been.
Oh, hell yeah.
So.
Well,
They
you
did, I
know,
rode
this
on
is,
Berry Road, now it's a
this is
speedway.
this is the classic thing that anyone who's ever been on the select board has had to deal with. When are they gonna pave my road? When are they gonna pave my road? And then it changes to, they drive too fast on my road.
Yeah. Okay,
Okay.
now we done. Yeah, go ahead.
Diane Irving, yes, I want it paid.
Hold it.
but
We got someone on Zoom wanting to make a remark.
Yes, I want it paved, not sure it needs to go past Leslie and Daryl's.
That's how I
asked
feel about it.
if they would like it paved.
Okay,
Thanks for weighing in.
Constable.
That was Diane Irving. She says, yes, I'd like to have it paved, but she's not so sure it needs to go past Leslie and Daryl's place.
I asked Leslie too, but I haven't heard.
But probably, yeah, some people think that way, but I kind of agree with Bim. If we can get it done at the certain price right now, do it. If we wait, then we're gonna be paving and probably
I'll tell you,
double that.
might be the bullet on $72 a ton, they're gonna do what they agreed. And the 80 something a ton is a good deal.
Yep. Okay, constable report, anything? Nope. CEO?
No.
Nope. Good. ACO report?
No.
Nope.
Didn't we get a CEO report right in that email? From
I
Scott?
believe we did.
I didn't.
Oh, I did.
Well, let's see.
A monthly report or just a report on that one person? He was responding to that application.
Yeah, that was that
Wasn't a
the,
report.
CEO report for September?
September
I
what?
went to speak, but I couldn't get mine off of Zoom. I mean, off of mute.
Leslie?
Video on or not?
Go ahead,
I
Leslie.
don't have my video on. So I went to turn it off. I finally,
Are you mute?
Well, it's gonna be paid past her place regardless, so.
Right.
see what the-
Zoning permits, building permits. September report.
Yeah, I can just about see that on my phone.
I can read it.
What's the date of it?
It's for September. Oh, this one says date August 31st, 2022.
Yeah,
It just came in this week.
I didn't get it.
If you're talking about $25,000.
There's no complaints, no inspections, so.
Yeah,
You wanna let Leslie speak or?
received
Yeah,
over a
go
dozen
ahead.
calls regarding
Leslie?
tax acquired property up for bid. Is that what yours says too?
Do you have a question, Leslie?
It's up for bid, his grandfather, he says it's great.
thank you. I know you asked whether or not how we felt about it. And basically, Daryl has a question for you regarding the difference.
Go ahead.
Want to ask your question?
Yeah, so the question is, what's the cost annually of grading that section of road from our driveway down to the corner of Gottingen? Is the additional amount to pave it going to essentially offset that annual cost for grading and whatever other upkeep on the gravel road is? In which case it may be a good expenditure given the value of paving it now versus sometime down the road.
I don't know, I'm just guessing that your driveway is probably about halfway, but I'm not sure that they would even consider coming over there and only doing $25,000 worth of work. 50 is a very big job for them, and I think they're cutting a really good deal for you. And, you know, I appreciate you working as well as you have with us on everything we've done there. And I think it came out good.
You want to see the video?
I just, sense-wise, we should go right to that intersection.
He's asking how much extra do you think it would be, say, following another year or two down the road to do the rest of it?
Twice, 3 down.
I don't know, right now, they've offered to do it for $87, and that's not gonna happen. I don't believe. I don't even know if they come to 25,000, that's a pretty small job. And then, you know, 50 is kind of like, not that big a job for them. They don't do driveways and that, they only do streets, and he cut you a deal, because he's right here in town, it's getting late, towards the end of that season, and he said, I'll throw you guys a deal. He said, the season's awful good, and he gave us a deal of just under 50 to do all the way to the intersection.
We're just saying, Daryl, that right now they're offering us $80-something a ton for the hot top. Next year, it will be well over $100, and probably it'll be even going up more than that every year after that. It keeps going
He
up.
said they're getting
And it's because
120
he's
also.
coming to this town.
Right.
He's offered to us.
So they're giving us a pretty good, deal to go the whole length.
Come over there and do that $50,000 worth of work, he can do it while he's right in town.
I
He
think
said he's not gonna move out of town, and then move back.
I thought he was asking, is it cheaper to grade it every year
Right,
rather than have it paved?
I think that's what he was asking.
which maybe can't give him an answer, really.
I don't. Grading it is a.
Depends on how many
big
years you
expense. Running
grade.
a grader over it is a big expense, but you have to add materials because things wash out. And then you got the erosion issue of the sand washing into that little brook there halfway. I mean, you can eliminate those problems by paving
Right,
that.
I think-
And
I-
it's Dustin
well,
Green Acres.
I guess what I'm hearing is that they've just put in a whole lot of work and they'd like to cap it off with a coat of paving so that it doesn't all go to hell in handcart,
Mm-hmm.
right? Am I
Just
hearing you
don't, just
right?
don't let it end up looking like it did before.
Well, there's a little bit of erosion washing problem there from the, where I put that last big culvert in up to the four-way intersection. It's always washing down the side of the road there. We can eliminate paving it.
Well, am I right? You've just put a whole lot of work into it and you want to preserve that work by capping it over with a layer of paving now, rather than trying to add material and dig it out of the ditches and add more material and keep grading it. You're just trying to preserve the work that you've already done. Am I right?
Right.
Well, I don't really have a problem with that. No.
You're still gonna get some erosion issues. There's still gonna be some fines to wash it all. It makes no sense to not pave
Okay,
that.
well,
Does
you
that
know,
answer-
I think we have to wait and see what the townspeople think about.
Does that
taking
answer your
the
question,
money out of the
Leslie?
fund balance
Darryl?
anyhow.
Yes.
So,
Yeah, that answers the question. I mean, I certainly will be supportive of the idea of paving.
yeah.
Hold it. What do you say?
Can you repeat that?
Sorry, yes, I think I get what Bim is saying, and I think I would support what Bim is suggesting, doing paving it all the way, given the price break that he would get.
Yeah, they're giving us a heck of a deal on that.
Some of the issues with these dirt roads is they used to freeze up in the fall and they stay frozen until spring. They don't now. They warm up in the winter, and then the plows push that salt into the ditches. And by spring, you'll have these mounds of dirt pushed over in the ditch. Then we gotta go back and almost put it all back up in the road again. So, in
Right,
my
except you
opinion,
use
it
the
makes
fill
sense
material.
to pave that, and then you get some stone along the edge of the tile there, so it doesn't, it eliminates the erosion, but.
He's agreeing with you.
Can we move on?
Okay, planning board report.
I think I
We
can do
had
the
that.
minutes.
We have minutes.
Yep.
And there wasn't too much to talk about.
No. Tell them how many, got 21 building permits. Previous years, 28. Plumbing permits, 16, previous 24. Nobody's bad. Huh?
In your spot when you should have. I was saying she has a copy somewhere.
Oh.
Thanks for showing up.
Yep. Ordinance Committee request to have the Board of Selectmen and CEO present at the meeting on October 19th at 7 PM.
I have it in my calendar.
October.
That's
Okay,
planning board.
That is, no,
Ordinance.
that is the
Ordinance.
ordinance committee, which is on October 19th, which
Okay.
is a Wednesday, if I'm not mistaken.
Planning board.
No, moving right along.
fire warden, anything?
Oh,
There
We
was
know
some,
later on.
Okay,
there was something in here.
later on. Treasurer report. This,
once we commit taxes, the budget will be in here, so you'll have a better report to review.
mhm. Calendar reminders, ordinance committee, October 19th, 7 PM, yep. General assistance ordinance hearing, October 20th, 6:45.
Calendar.
Yep. 2023 bulky waste date, June 15th, 2023.
And the stuff is already piling up.
Yeah.
Kathy, excuse me, could we add to the calendar, the Solid Waste and Recycling Committee will meet on October 18th at 7 at the Town Hall?
Yeah,
What day of the week?
Thank you.
It's a Tuesday.
I'll have to check the calendar, make sure.
mhm. We'll have to check the calendar and make sure, Lenny.
Okay,
What time was that?
7.
The unfinished business, tax foreclosure bid sale, Bishop, RO2 lot 8.2.
There's 9 in there. Just make sure you keep the money with.
Yeah,
bids
keep
and-
all of the material together. I
There's
trust
a
you. have some-
stapler, you can staple it.
Okay, good. I was gonna ask about that part. All right. I've got this, I will, so they have been opened already. Yep, even though I have this, here, you can read that one. Keep everything together. That one was open, this one is not.
Oh, I have to say, there's one envelope that I had on top I received in the mail. It did not say bid.
You already got it, I think. Did she get it? One of you
She's-
did.
I handed that to her, yes.
It did not say bid on it. It just had Town of Hartford in the address and I
That's why it's
opened
open.
it, but,
Yes.
and I tried calling her. She never called me back.
Okay, so what I'm going to do with this, I'm gonna put the envelope in the back. I'll put the check actually right behind that. And I'm going to staple this, so that this stays together, and you have to do the same. We don't mix the checks up at all, 'cause there's a lot to look at here.
Give me a staple.
The envelope
That's
too.
Put the check behind so that we can still.
Okay.
Is
Just,
that the envelope to that one?
yeah,
Right here.
yeah,
Yeah.
envelope too, put the envelope behind.
Staple them all?
This was part of the same one?
Yep.
Okay, yeah, all goes behind. Like that.
Put the check on the very back and then
What?
just put the check in the middle or on the way.
I'll put it, I put it in the middle. And so,
I'll
that
take
way,
the
that way we
stapler
can,
and-
we can just. Assuming that the check is for the, oh man, and this one's full of cash. I'm not gonna staple for cash.
Holy mackerel.
Yeah,
Yeah, there was that many.
That's handy dandy. Also torn. So when- And we will put this cash.
What's the couple? There's an extra one.
It's okay, that one's not big enough to do this job. Has to be a really big one.
How about this?
No, never mind. Okay. This one is
3 of them.
yes. See the amount of money. This is this one. Seven. What's much of this, much of these numbers? Got 'em in. Slide that in and slice it up.
We can see personal information on the screen, just so you know.
What?
You're talking about like as in here?
Yeah.
No, here, we'll pile them all up.
Would she say she see what?
Personal information on these bids,
Oh,
they don't set it in front of the camera.
no.
Thank you for that. I will do some more, I will do some more slicing here. Nine minutes. Yes. That's it, right? Okay. Make sure Picking up some of your people's. Yeah. Okay, we have here 9 bids. Would you like me to read these two?
Go ahead.
Read these out?
Go ahead.
Without naming the individuals. Here is one for $1,251. Here is one for $9,577. Here is one for $9,521. Here is one for $9,100. Here is one for $4,500. We also want to make sure that these are once again not showing to the public, I guess. Here's one for $2,711. Here is one for $2,200. Here is one for $830.70. I think that's the exact amount that we were owed. And here's one for $1,550. Well, the highest bid was the one for 9,500 and was it 95 and 77? In $9,577.
That's the second one.
That is, and that is the one on the top here that has cash money. And somebody should count the cash money, and I would imagine that should be the tax collector, treasurer, and etc. So I move that we sell this property the highest bidder.
I second that.
I'm not sure exactly how this works, because at one point I know that the town was allowed to collect what it was owed, and then the rest of it was supposed to go to the person who lost the property, but I don't know that we can
If
even
you-
contact that person.
If you adopted an ordinance to allow that,
Okay,
otherwise it
we have
doesn't.
not. We have not.
Did you second?
I did.
All in favor?
Going on.
And can I have that envelope?
Congratulations.
So they had until, they had like 30 days or something.
No, we did it until like the end of the month, I think.
Yeah, is that big package?
And then it would go to the next highest.
Down on Route 140, on the Buckfield, before you get to Ricker Hill on the left. Don't ask me whereabouts, but it's right in that area.
So can I? Which
Where'd she go?
Dog was barking. I believe we agreed that it had to be paid by, I think it's the end
I
of the
think it was
month.
the end of the month.
Right? We give them a couple weeks to come up for the money, and then it goes to the next highest
I had
bidder.
the bid package in with those guys.
I think it was the end of the
Do you
month.
have it
Right here.
Oh, it says in there.
I'm pretty sure it was, yeah, final payment October 20th.
So that should be in the motion. I mean,
Yep, so I make a motion, we take the highest bidder, as long as they pay the remaining amount due by what we selected, which was October 20th, 2022. Otherwise, we will then, they will forfeit their deposit, and we will go to the next highest bidder. That's what it
Which was
says in here, right?
9,521.
Right.
I second it. All in favor?
I can't write that fast.
Sorry.
Yeah. Quick claim deed, Whittemore, R11 lot
So
114
they did manage to
1.
cough it up.
They
She
did.
came in the day, October 1st, on the deadline date and paid.
Yay.
Tax foreclosures.
Can you make a motion
Oh.
to sell the property, Doctor, and you need to sign it again?
I know we sell the property, the Whittemore lot back to the last known taxpayer.
Yeah, I second
Is
it.
that correct?
By
To the
October 1st.
heirs.
Heirs of the,
I second it. All in favor?
Does somebody want to witness their signatures for the deed? Please. You don't mind?
so is there an issue with somebody paying this in cash when it's stated that it was supposed to be a bank check? No?
That's up to you.
No, you know, I don't really have an issue with it,
No.
but somebody just wrote to me and said, well, you can't.
Money's money.
Pause it.
I did not count it.
Mm,
Did you count it to see that it was the correct amount?
No.
Seems like that would be in order.
So it'd be $970.
And $950.70. Yeah, $957.70. I mean, I
It's
guess.
$1,000 there.
Okay.
Seems like that ought to work.
You're a doctor and other professional.
No.
Thank you.
The tax foreclosure, October 1st, 2022 deadline, Blanchard.
No good deed goes unpunished.
So I received in the mail on the deadline date, October 1st, bankruptcy papers for the
But-
property.
The date of the foreclosure was
It
before
was July 1st,
his bankruptcy
right?
come due.
So I sent an email to MMA Legal and asked him, can I ignore this because the town owns the property as of July 1st? And he said, no, since the selectmen made arrangements for him to pay by October 1st, it complicates it and we should hire a lawyer.
Or at least get an opinion, right? That's what they said in there. Get a
Right,
bankruptcy.
which we would have to pay a lawyer for that opinion. So I don't know what you guys.
So, now I see that you consulted with MMA about this. So we have to hire a lawyer to help us with this. I mean, it might be what we have to do, but if we were to do that, and in fact, we were able to sell this property the way we just sold this last property, are we able to tack on our legal expenses, or is this just something we have to eat?
Sell it to him,
No,
Well,
just add it on to your minimum bid if you're gonna.
well,
Right,
that's-
right.
well, I'm just wondering if we're allowed to add that onto our minimum
I
bid.
would think so. Right.
I love that idea.
Well, you know, it just seems like it makes sense. Why should the town have to eat that cost,
Right.
right?
Let it go forward with it without attorneys. You won't.
I seem to,
That's July 1st.
I seem to think, yeah, the foreclosure was before.
But you voted to give him until
Yes.
October 1st.
That's
to
correct.
Pay it off.
So,
it gets
so here, I
complicated.
want to, I will, let me just read this one short paragraph. None of the attorneys here at MMA have enough experience with bankruptcy law to know all of the issues that could arise in this case. But due to the risk associated with interfering in a bankruptcy proceeding, I would strongly encourage the town to refrain from taking any steps to sell the property until discussing this matter with a bankruptcy trustee and an attorney with experience in this area of the law. And she goes on to make a suggestion for somebody to contact. I hope this is helpful. In any case, so we are advised by one of the attorneys on the team that we retain to tread lightly in this situation and not to move forward without consulting both the bankruptcy trustee and an attorney experienced in these matters.
Don't think we have any choice.
What's that guy's name out there in South Paris? Dow?
Yeah, he's not a bankruptcy attorney.
No, he's a real estate attorney.
Yeah, but this isn't about real estate so much as it's about bankruptcy now.
They did give us a name.
She gave us a suggestion.
Yeah.
You know, and maybe that's who we should contact. You know, it's liable to cost some. On the other hand, maybe they can just look at it and say, it's not like it's gonna be a long-term consultant situation. Somebody's gonna look it all over and say, yeah, this looks like the situation and this is what I advise, and probably it would be fairly cut and dried. I would imagine, in terms of legal stuff. Yeah. I mean, I've done an awful lot of lawyer consulting. And it's not always cut and dry.
No.
In this case, I would
think it
imagine
would
it
be.
would be fairly cut and dried, especially if we, and talking to the bankruptcy trustee had not cost us a damn penny.
Yeah, I'll do that first.
I would think, but you know, it seems to me that we probably, you know, I mean, okay, at this point, what's the deadline on this? Is there such a thing?
Yes, there's deadlines to reply to the order.
Could I just say one thing here?
Go ahead.
In previous dealings with my own identity people on things, verbal agreement they say in this state is good as a written agreement. And if you have an agreement made with him till the first, that's as good as it being written on paper. And if he files that thing with a bankruptcy attorney, it stops it right there.
Yeah, that's why we're advised. That's why we're
But he
advised.
didn't
to-
own, right, but he didn't own the property. We did.
Yeah, but you made a verbal agreement.
Yeah.
And it
Gave
wasn't,
them that agreement to pay.
If
Right.
they pay the taxes, you would write them a deed.
Right.
You own the property.
We already own it.
Yeah, you already owned it and you gave them.
That's right. That's right. Well, you know,
July 1st.
I move we ask Leanne to move forward with contacting the bankruptcy trustee. Did you see a date on there? I mean, I see when it
there's
was
different
filed.
dates, I think.
Let's
It's
see.
dates for them and
When
dates
it
for
was
us.
filed.
But I will call them.
Good.
I don't think the dates matter now. I think you had a verbal agreement against them.
No, dates to respond to the claim, the bankruptcy.
At some point, you made an agreement with him.
Okay, I'm not seeing that date.
Well, this just came,
I get it.
but, all right, I can read it all. Deadline to file a complaint to challenge dischargeability of certain debts, January 3rd, 23. Deadline for all creditors to file proof of claim except governmental units, December 6, 22. Deadline for governmental units to file proof of claim, 180 days from the date of order. Deadlines for filing proof of claim, there's a bunch of them. I'll just call and
Yeah.
find out.
Yeah, no kidding.
So
huh?
when did he file that though?
Not until September
It
27th.
says September 27th that was the bankruptcy order.
Bankruptcy attorney can walk right in and hold it, stop it right there.
Yeah.
But it's already out of his name right now, so I don't think he's gonna be able to.
Yeah, see, because he doesn't, you know, we offered to sell it back to him, but sell it back to him.
Sell it
means we
back
don't-
to him.
Work those back taxes right into whatever agreement.
I don't think he has a claim, but-
Well, so let's, my personal sense on this is, it would definitely pay us to consult an attorney.
Yeah.
And is assuming that we're able to tack our legal expenses
Yes.
onto the
Sale.
minimum bid price for selling the property, I don't see how we get hurt
Right.
Instead of talking
We
about-
have got some money in our legal, our legal reserve. Fair bit, if I remember right. And so I say, let's move forward with this.
So what was your motion?
I move that we consult first with the bankruptcy trustee and to consult with a bankruptcy lawyer.
The one listed, the one recommended?
Well, I don't actually have one in my card file, so I would
Whoever
imagine
you
that
think.
if Brianna Gerson says that he'd be a good one. 'cause
Right.
He's the best one I know of.
Okay.
Anyway, second it. All in favor? Good.
Because I don't see how we get, in the end, it's gonna cost something.
Right, and
for
they're
it,
looking
but
out
in
for
the
our
end,
best
I don't-
interests. so
In
they
the
wouldn't-
end, we'll tack that on to whatever
Yeah.
our
Right.
minimum bid is for the property, so I don't see how we get it.
Right.
Still agree, it's not gonna be what you wanna do, it's gonna be what the bankruptcy attorney sets up, and that's what it's gonna be, period.
It's not really been because it wasn't an agreement to pay back taxes. It was an
Talk to the
agreement.
lawyer and see what they say.
That's right.
That's all I'm gonna say.
Well, that's right. That's what we gotta do.
Okay, the next one, workers' compensation case update.
Right. Okay, nobody's name is mentioned here, so it's not really entirely private, but it says that the hearing was canceled because the guy who was working on it as a workers advocate resigned, and so somebody else is being reassigned, and that, in fact, it's not a dead issue.
Right.
It will come back to bite us at some other time.
Yep. Emergency response plan update.
This was tabled at the last meeting. I didn't copy it all again because it's, I figured you had copies
We
already.
have copies of it.
Have you all reviewed it?
I have not.
Mostly we just changed the names of the selectmen and whatnot.
Mhm.
You know,
It looked very thorough. I
Mhm.
went through the whole thing. It looked very thorough. I didn't see anything that looked like it was drastically out of date or anything. I just thought from our previous meeting, it'd be nice to have someone have like a cheat sheet, so if someone were here, they would know which standards to follow for the emergency plan.
I didn't put it in your packet because it was in last week's and it was too much to copy every
Mhm.
meeting. I
Right,
have it here if you want to read it.
No. I looked through it.
I'm not gonna I'm not gonna take this meeting, just read the whole thing. Not a chance.
So are you ready to adopt it or do you want to
I
wait another?
am. I'm ready to adopt it.
I'm ready.
Julie,
Yeah.
make a motion
No, I
that
have
we'll
not- I'm not
adopt it.
exactly committed the whole thing to memory, but I don't know that I
Yeah.
need to.
Make a
Like,
motion that we
motion?
adopt it and accept it
Second.
as is. All in favor?
Because how would, really. Because what we're gonna, what
Right.
exactly are we changing?
No.
You know?
It's mostly just contact names and numbers.
Thank you.
And emergency operations plan update. Or was that the same one we just had?
No, there's two different things.
Yeah.
The other one's more involved.
Make a motion, we accept that as.
As presented?
Yep,
I second that.
all in favor? Anybody have anything for open session? Anybody on there?
Nope, I have a couple of things. Somebody wants to use the hall on the 25th from 11 to 1 for not a service, but a get together after a service. And I can't remember what you guys said. You're making everyone pay and everyone have insurance now
If it's, unless it's a community group.
for public. All right.
Well, yes, yeah. So
Funerals,
what you're
we-
saying is that we're going to,
We all voted.
reverse tradition and charge people for using this for funerals.
I thought funerals we
Funeral
didn't
reception.
charge,
Well,
we
you
never have.
updated the
We updated the
policy.
policy.
that
We
it's
did say
charged.
community event.
Outreach.
On
Community
the,
outreach, yeah.
no, there was no outreach in there. It was community events.
Sure it was.
It says, you change it to say not-for-profit events that are offered free to the public may be allowed to use the hall free of charge as determined by the select board. You just adopted this in August, so I just wanted to make sure that they have to provide insurance and pay the fee.
So who here in the room knows whose funeral this is? Not a funeral, it's a community service afterwards, right?
Can be in.
Ken does.
Does it matter? Wait, does it matter?
What I'm saying is, what if somebody from another town wants to use this for a
It's only for residents.
funeral? Oh, I didn't realize that.
This is a resident.
Yeah, residents.
And this is for an after service,
Just
It's
for
for the
a lunch, a
reception
little
after
lunch.
funeral.
the funeral somewhere else, but it's not here.
Haven't determined whether the funeral's gonna be, probably be great stuff.
I think, I don't know if we're talking about the same person, because this one's gonna be.
Okay, it might not be.
I guess it's determined by the select board.
But the policy says.
Well, are they gonna be charging people to come in?
No.
And if somebody comes in, if somebody wanders in and wants to participate, not that some stranger is liable to, that didn't know the deceased, but aren't funerals kind of always open to the public? I mean, funeral reception. Last time I knew that if usually it's somebody who's at least met the deceased that shows up, and it's not like we have a significant homeless population that there's going to be street people showing up to try and grab a few finger rolls. Oh, I don't think so.
I know someone who.
What's the date? No.
Well, I don't see it. I don't see it. It's 25th of October,
The 25th,
25th.
11:01.
My personal feeling is that it's something like this. I mean, okay, it's not necessarily something that's going to be advertised as open to the whole community, but I've never seen a funeral that was a closed. I mean, I've seen closed caskets, but I've never seen
But this
a
is the
closed to the
social
public,
after, so.
a closed to the public funeral reception myself.
So.
So what do you guys want to do? I don't have the history to make a
I say
decision. I just know that.
no charge for funerals.
For a funeral reception.
Funeral reception? I
Right.
mean, or, I've never actually seen a casket roll in here to actually have the funeral itself in the town hall. It's always been a reception, but we've always let somebody in town who's lost somebody come in and have their family and friends.
Great.
And if we've made a policy that specifically excludes that, then I think we may need to review our policy.
No, I think we've
Meanwhile,
left it open enough that the select board can determine
I think so,
that.
because it does say may be allowed, so I,
As determined by
so
the
I
select
second it,
Who made the motion?
Kathy did,
To what? What'd you say?
to allow funerals to be.
No charge.
Of community residents.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's.
But I don't think we need to add to the policy. I just think we need to, the policy says as determined by the select
Right,
board.
and
If it's open
and
to
I
the
think the select
community.
board is in the process of determining.
So in other words, the deceased should have to been living in town.
Or that, but right now we've got a motion and a second on the floor, so basically.
I don't have the whole motion because what about the insurance? Because
They should
it's-
probably show proof of insurance.
So their homeowners would do the job.
All I do have to do is request it for mine,
Mhm,
and it doesn't cost me anything, I just.
right,
But I wouldn't charge them the 75 bucks
right,
or
no,
whatever.
right, no,
So
Make-
Kathy, can I reiterate your motion?
yes, go ahead.
Move that this funeral, these bereaved people can use the hall free of charge, but should show proof of insurance. Is
Amy,
that-
second
do
it?
I understand
Yes,
this
that's right.
correctly?
Prove that they're residents?
No, proof of insurance is that if something happens while they're here, that the town isn't liable for slip, trip and fall. You know, somebody drops their soda and somebody else slips in it and falls and goes boom, that they're not gonna come back at the town.
Who seconded it?
I
said
did.
I did.
Oh, you did?
I reiterated it, so I guess that means I made the motion and she seconded
Second
it.
it. All in favor? Good.
Basically, you know, one of our biggest jobs is to protect the town from liability from whatever.
The second thing is, if the assessors finish next week, do you want to call a special selectmen's meeting to commit taxes, or just wait till the 25th? Last year, we committed taxes on October 1st. It's just the tax bills are gonna be.
Yeah, and I'm sure that it would be an awful lot handier for you if we were to meet sooner than that.
So if we're done early next week, I'll contact you to see if you want to set a date.
Yeah, I mean, we're supposed to have a little bit of notice on that. So if you're done next week, then what is next week actually look like here? Okay, this is the 6th, so he's coming on Tuesday.
It might
Yeah.
take 2 days, it might just take the one, I'm not sure.
That's right. Well, you know, I would have the evening of the 12th open.
No, it wouldn't be that.
Wouldn't be that soon. Well, I'm just, you know, I'm just getting realistic here.
I'll let you know.
Okay,
You know, I think the 18th was some kind of a, there's something going on. Okay, the 19th is we're all required to be here for the ordinance committee meeting. So perhaps the 19th would be a good date for a special, since we're gonna want to,
But we're meeting on the.
then we're meeting on the 20th, so what's the point of meeting that soon?
All right, I'll let you know.
I'm just trying to look at what makes sense here.
Well, we don't even know if he'll be done, so I'll let you know.
yeah,
Okay, let us know.
They visit every single, I haven't ever been here when they do assessments, do they? Like go visit everybody, then they come to us?
That's a
and-
revaluation. Revaluation is when they go around to all the houses.
The assessors and I will get everything done and present it to you, so all you have to do is vote and sign.
Okay,
Yeah. You know, the God's honest truth
just
is,
learning.
well, you're just learning, and
Yeah.
there would be no better way of learning, honestly, than to actually meet with Mike, because he is so sharp. I mean, you would learn so much from him.
You have to choose
so
the
fast.
mill rate.
What's that? You have to approve the mill rate, basically. Nobody knows what they're gonna get charged for taxes next year until we have been through the actual commitment of taxes. And once we've committed taxes, then Leanne can crank out the bills and send out the bills so that people can know what's coming for December 1st.
Right,
And May 1st is an expected.
but those people over 65 could file that form, and therefore their taxes can't go up at all,
Next year.
right? Based on next year's rate? Or this year's rate?
Next year,
for
their
next year?
taxes
They have to have
won't.
owned their house for 10 years too.
Well, that too, but most of us old farts have.
next year, yeah.
So, or that house or any other house within the state of Maine, in fact. But,
That's their
so
residence.
people can't sign up for that. Now, when is the deadline for that?
December.
It's in December that people sign up for that?
December 1st.
Have until
I asked the
December.
newsletter to put the actual application in there, but they didn't.
Okay, let's see.
I couldn't put the actual application in because it's only available anywhere in PDF. So what I did was describe it and give a link.
Uh-huh.
It's something you have to print in order to fill it out.
Mhm.
It's not fillable online. and you can't copy and paste it.
Okay,
I tried everything.
So anybody will just have to come to the town office to do this?
yes.
Or they can go online.
But if
You
can't-
can print it, you just can't copy and paste it.
Okay, is that it, Leanne?
Did you have some more items for open session?
Nope. Okay, new business. Petition for town meeting, Darrington Road winter plowing. Okay,
Okay, so the petition came in on the 27th
27th.
of September. So 1, 2, 3, 4. But BIM suggested, so that gives us well into November, but if we wanted, oh, okay.
Yeah,
Real calendar instead of this one that jumps around every time I touch it. Okay, so of course, BIM's suggestion is that if we are going to have a special town meeting about that, we ought to get right on it.
yes,
So that we could possibly take out some monies for the paving of Green Acres
Mhm.
Road.
mhm,
If that were to happen, it seems like we have to get right on it. I mean, when did you say it's gonna be in 2
Couple
weeks?
weeks.
In 2 weeks, they're gonna be here to do Pratt Hill Road and, part of Pratt Hill
Couple,
Road
it
there?
might be three, couple.
Okay.
Three, because I was trying to, I want to get it done up, but I was trying to say, not get them right here tomorrow morning, so that it left us a little time to work with this thing.
Right.
So I was kind of between here and here.
When do we usually do a special town meeting? On a weekend, on a weeknight, on a, 'cause we only have a couple things, right?
it's usually on a weeknight, I think.
So is this a road that's normally not been plowed?
For over 50 years. Or
For over
ever.
50 years,
We've never
has it been
plowed it.
plowed?
We've never plowed it. As far
Is
as
it
I
a
know.
private road?
No,
No.
it's all town road.
It's a town road.
Right, but there's a lot of town roads since that town was established in 1840 that we never plowed ever, because it just was not a plowable road.
Oh, I
Just,
think we was discontinued every 10 years, we had to vote to keep it discontinued. For winter maintenance.
Are there people that reside out there?
Yep.
One.
There's another family that's
way up at the
way
end.
up.
And it's a public road.
Yes.
Every road's a
I think
public
it should
road,
have to be, no, there are.
but this
roads
road
here
has
that are
never been
private.
maintained though.
Huh?
This road's never been maintained in the winter.
Oh,
Well, you can't say never because we have to go back 40 years and it was. I can bring somebody in that used to plow it. 40 years.
From the town though.
so what have these people done all these years, plow themselves?
Well, now this is a question that,
Huh?
And you bought this property knowing that this was not maintained by the town and built your property.
Wait till the third one gets back here, so we're all on the same.
Kind of sounds like what they did up there on Journey Hill Road.
Sounds like,
Sounds a lot like that.
Just
doesn't it?
about.
So,
Just
so
about.
when, except that happened at a regular town meeting, we didn't have a special town meeting on account of it.
Well, Journey Hill was closed in winter. It was
That's
pretty
right,
much closed,
right,
summer and winter.
yes.
but we're not discussing that, right? All we're doing
Right,
is.
well, I
discussing
think,
if we're gonna have a town
but
meeting.
it's relevant to those of us who have a memory of these things, because it costs the town $40,000 just to be able to get a plow truck up in there.
Yeah, it's gonna
And
cost more than that.
so
Just
to me, the fiscal note is the critical piece.
wait a minute. It's gonna cost the town $40,000 just to get a truck
No, that's what it was.
No,
the
I'm
Gurney
talking
Road.
about, historical, right, and so,
He's using it for example.
just an example of
Example.
what can happen if you suddenly have to
But that
open a
up there was
town.
kind of a different situation.
Oh, it was different, all right.
I mean, what happens if someone decides they want to build a top of Bear Mountain Road, and that's a town road? Bear Mountain Road, it's a town road.
Yeah.
It is a town
I've been
road.
around here quite a while, we got a lot of policies, God, we love policies.
I buy property
We've
up there,
got
a
two
quarter of a mile
policies
up,
here
and
that
you guys
kind
have
of,
problems with it?
mash with each other. We have a policy somewhere in our stack of policies that anyone that opens up an old discontinued closed town road for any type of development or whatever.
Long in operation.
That's a potential of coming back and being asked to be plowed by the town is required to build that to a standard that we have in our road ordinance. Go ahead, Louise.
I don't think that this road isn't discontinued.
Well, that's just, Gurney Hill and Darrington Road have two things in common.
Tool of my steel here, I guess. We got two policies here that kind of connect with each other. We have one for some roads that, I'm just gonna use an example, like up in there past Darrington, Davenport, between there and Moses Young, is discontinued to everything. The Darrington Road is a little bit different situation because we have always put a little money into that road every summer. We kind of kept it a little bit summer maintained, passable for the two houses that are up in there. So our policy for an old discontinued closed down road over here, this thing's gonna be built right up to a standard that's going to cost the town nothing to build it. All is gonna fall on the person building or doing the development. And being on the ordinance committee here a little while back, I had it and we worked it so that a lot of our town roads that we have, that we're already working on, don't have to be brought up to the standard that is if it's a brand new road that's being opened up for another purpose. This road has always been kind of since I've ever been involved. I was road commissioner back here 25 years ago for quite a number of years. We always put a little bit into the road each year. Then when I got away from it, I think Jeremy did a little bit each year. Then I got back in road commissioner again, and we've done a little bit. 3 or 4 years ago, I replaced a bunch of culverts, and maybe it was more than 3, but anyway, I've done a bunch of summer maintenance. We've always kind of summer maintained that for summer use. Go ahead, Lee.
Because, like Gurney Hill Road, there's a cemetery at the top. And that's why Gurney Hill Road was never actually closed, because there's a cemetery with Revolutionary War veterans right up there. And there's a cemetery, is it Soul Cemetery? I can't remember the name of it. That is up past, no, Meeting House was up on Gurney Hill Road, and there's a Soul Cemetery that's out behind. But that's why it was never discontinued. But that's why.
This road has been somewhat summer maintained to a certain point. And the policy we have for our own roads that are summer, our own roads that we use, don't have to be brought up to the standard that someone going over here and opening up a brand new road, an old road, but something brand new, that has to be built to a much higher standard. The roads that we already have, we kind of try to improve them a little each year with what we can afford. And the reason I'm going through all this
because it's neither abandoned nor discontinued.
Which way are you handling what he's asking do you want to do like we had to do on Gurney Hill, enough to be able to plow it and then a little each year? Or are you looking at this thing that this is all brand new and gonna be built to the Cadillac of the roads? It's gonna be hard to do that because we've always summer maintained it a little,
Well, and
not a lot, but
I've driven up there with you just to talk about that exact situation. I don't know if you remember this far back, but we've actually taken a drive up there, and the whole thing about that road is that it's basically a parabola. It's shaped like this,
it's gonna
so
need,
that there's really no place to push snow, and there's no place to
It's
put
gonna take-
ditches.
this much money to fix it plowable, or it's gonna take this much money to bring it up to a brand new situation.
Well, I don't believe anybody's looking for brand new. I think
No,
what he's asking for is to be plowed
From
out.
what I've talked to you, I think he's just looking to get it plowed. And probably the least we can do to get it plowable. And I mean, it just, we need a number or something tied in with this thing before. It's not my
Well,
decision whether I like opening it or not.
No.
I don't really care.
But
I'm
you
guessing
are
it's a-
not only the plow contractor, but you're also a road commissioner. Therefore, we don't have somebody else to ask. So what's this gonna set us back?
Oh, this is-
And I think we're talking used Chevy here rather than new Cadillac. No, well, you don't have to tell us tonight, but you need to start crunching the numbers a little bit.
Well, this has to be worked out somewhat tonight. If you're gonna get this thing so she can have a warrant to get done.
Yeah, but we don't have to have the figures tonight. Do we have to have an exact figure tonight?
You need them when you sign the warrant.
Yeah, when we sign the warrant, but we're not signing the warrant
When
tonight.
you're trying to get your warrant signed, you've gotta get it worked out
Maybe not.
fairly soon here.
Well, fairly soon, but you don't have to figure it out tonight. I guess, I don't know how the rest of the board feels about it, but I think we're talking used Chevy rather than new Cadillac here.
Well,
It's not.
Used, but
And you
running.
gotta be prepared, because the people at the end of that road who's a good mile down or whatever, if we do him, they're gonna be the next one saying.
Well, they're
"Hey, you gotta
planning,
hold us up."
they live in Massachusetts, but they've been planning on retiring there for a long time. And-
My opinion on that is, there's no point in doing half, because it's like paving half of Greenacres. There's no point in it, because if we go only to his house, it's kind of unfair to the people at the end. So I think we need to address the whole issue. And
Well, we do, but no matter what happens, it's gonna be up to the people at town
Right, yeah,
meeting.
it's
So
up to the
if we decide that we're gonna go up to his house and make it passable for plowing and a turnaround, because you'll have to have a place to turn around, then that's gonna cost X amount of
you
dollars.
gotta.
And if you decide you wanna go and fix it up, fit to plow and fit to use, all the way up to the old Darrington place, that's gonna be a whole nother set of dollars. That's gonna be not X dollars, but X dollars. So which one is liable to pass at town meeting?
Well, I think when you look at that road.
Am I right?
If you're gonna consider opening it for winter maintenance, you might as well consider going all the way to the end. Because there's no point in doing halfway.
Well, I think the article that has to be voted on is the whole room.
Right. There's a couple of things that I have to consider. One is, if we go all the way to the house at the end, where is that turnaround gonna be? What are they gonna allow?
Right
us
in
to
their
do
dooryard,
to make
imagine.
it turnaround? Because they seem like they kind of kick over up there what they like.
Oh, imagine
And we're
so.
gonna need a certain area, like, keep up with us, giving us that turnaround forever. I don't know these people.
Well,
And isn't there
I
a
know who
bridge
they are,
halfway up
Claire and
that's
Dan
gonna be an
Riley.
issue too? Is that gonna hold a, big old plow truck?
You say he didn't be.
like, isn't there a bridge or something?
Yes. there's a-
Big
there's a
culvert.
bridge
That
there.
that's pretty scary.
It's, yeah, but that, in my opinion of that bridge is,
You've been up in there?
we
Oh, yeah,
need to
several
put
times.
a culvert into
Cemetery.
that soon as possible, just for the fact of some old trucks and anyone going in there with a vehicle that falls into the brook, which I have a culvert that we could put into there. It's a brand new culvert, it would solve the problem. We could go up there. We don't need to invite all the industrial people. Let me go put the culvert in. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, sure enough, but still in all, what we need you to do is start thinking well about what it's liable to cost us, so that we have some figures for taking to town meeting. And like I said, it's gonna cost a different amount if you only go to his house and have a turnaround somewhere nearby than it would be to go all the way. And do we really want to go all the way right here and now? Because we're already talking about taking some money for paving of Green Acres Road. Bam, let me speak for a minute. We're talking about taking some money, $50,000, I think it was, for Green Acres Road from fund balance. Now, we do keep a healthy fund balance, and I think that's something that we've done a good job with. But if it's gonna cost, is it gonna cost $50,000? Is it gonna cost more to open up the Darrington Road if we're presenting people with, oh yeah, well, we want another $100,000 to work on Green Acres and also the Darrington Road, or is it gonna be a lot more than that? I think it's gonna make a big difference whether people are willing to, because who's gonna show up? Maybe everybody who signed the petition will show up, or maybe they won't. Maybe a whole bunch of other people will show up who are fiscal hawks and vote it down. You don't know which way it's gonna go.
You're gonna have to treat these two articles separately.
Well, of course you are.
The Green Acre Road.
Yeah.
One article, the opening the winter maintenance, how you figure to get it plowed.
Leanne?
We have to vote on the article that was presented, which is plow the entire road.
Which is open the road to winter maintenance.
Mhm.
It's not that point.
Right. So maybe there's only one way it can go. And so we gotta have the numbers.
It's senseless to just go halfway, because the people at the end are gonna want.
Right, sure. It's only, in fact, it is only a matter of time. The question is, you know, how are people, you know, and I don't really have a problem with the whole concept. It's just, how are people going to react at town meeting? And that's worth thinking through.
I don't know how these people are gonna be. I have two concerns. One is that that culvert needs to be replaced. Just the safety of summertime trucks moving in.
It doesn't seem like it was that long ago that it washed out.
That was bad. That culvert's scary.
Turnaround, and we want them to sign an agreement giving us an easement, that's our turnaround forever, because we don't need to wind up like we did on Camp Road, where, oh, I don't like that turnaround, we're gonna build another one over here. We had to make 3 turnarounds down in there.
No, I don't think so.
So
Right,
if we're gonna
sure.
open it, part of that's gonna be making an agreement with them and where the turnaround is.
Right, yep.
Not just going up on that lawn and.
Or not just,
Right.
oh, we'll give you an easement, or we'll give you, not an easement, but I'll give you an agreement for the next 5 years, and then we have to hassle through it again.
I'm assuming that they probably would be agreeable to signing an easement and giving us an area that we need to plow if they're gonna get that road plowed.
You would
I'm
like to think so.
assuming that, you know better than I do,
I don't know what they.
Do you know the Rileys? You know,
Yeah,
you must know.
yeah,
Yeah,
I
sure.
don't know how they feel about that.
It's gonna be hard to plow a road with no turnaround.
It would go all the way to the cemetery then.
Right, 'cause that's- you know, Ken, that road's ready to go.
Yeah.
That cemetery road
I
is
don't
ready
know
to
where the
go.
cemetery is.
Keep going fast, and it'll take a right.
I know where it is.
Yeah.
Go
I haven't been
ahead.
there
Don't
for a
worry,
spell,
don't
but
worry, because when the truck tips like this, we'll just bounce it back up.
He wanted to say something. Go ahead.
Yeah, I had
There's a veteran in that cemetery.
There is.
if this doesn't go through, then it's been brought to my attention that nobody can plow that road unless they're insured by the town. Now, I've been hiring somebody for the last 7 years to plow the road up to my place. And where does that leave me if this doesn't go through and nobody is allowed to plow? Where does that leave me? Snowshoes? Dog sled? I don't know.
I don't think they can stop you from plowing it yourself, because you always have. But
it says that a town, it's the town road, and anybody plowing the road has to be insured by the town.
I don't know if they're sure the town, they have to have.
Not by the town.
Insurance from the town employee. The same as I have to have.
But where it's been closed for winter maintenance, would that,
I don't think. I
Come
don't
under that.
think that's going to affect.
Right.
Plows it himself.
right, where it's been closed for winter maintenance? Leanne?
I don't think anyone can do any work on any public road.
Really?
Except for the town.
Even if it's been closed for winter maintenance?
Abandoned town roads revert to the landowner on either side of the road.
However, this is not an abandoned road.
It's abandoned.
I recognize that, but this is not, neither an abandoned nor a discontinued road. It is discontinued for
Just know we're gonna set-
winter maintenance.
We're gonna be setting a precedent for all the other winter maintenance roads as people come in and live 3 miles down a road that's a camp road. And just know that Bear Pond and Canton have got tons of pond property and lake property that people are paying a ton of
On
taxes in this town.
private
That
roads.
have private roads that are paying for this. The town pays nothing for those roads. So just know that all of this is gonna be factored into as we choose to start plowing for 1 or 2 people that live miles out there.
A private road is handled altogether differently.
Absolutely, I understand.
This is a halfway between one that never is closed and the person's gonna have to spend a ton of money to bring it up to the standard we would expect. This is one that we're already kind of involved with.
Next.
Teresa?
We have 2 different policies.
Has the town done maintenance on that road in 10 years?
Summer.
Not a great lot, but it's never been abandoned, honest. Take my word for it, not an abandoned road. I understand that, I understand that.
It hasn't been maintained by the town.
Yeah.
It's automatically abandoned.
Right, and that's why I'm telling you, it's not abandoned. It's honest to God, it's not abandoned. Yes.
Bethel and Gilead's got roads that go out to these gorges that are only
Who's on there?
maintained in the summer and they close them in the winter.
Leslie wants to
But there are private landowners that live
Well,
out there.
Teresa was,
They're plowing
Teresa's
their way
next.
out.
So,
But
get it under control, get it under control now.
those roads.
These private
Okay.
roads
Tell her
are
to wait
private
a minute.
roads too, they have.
Leslie, we'll be with you in a minute.
Kathy, thanks.
Teresa, you got something to say?
I was just gonna make a comment, I mean.
Yeah, please.
If these people pay their taxes and it's a public road, I mean, I would think then, you know, we need to come up with a decision as to how we're gonna go ahead and do the whole thing.
Yeah.
Sure enough.
So that Jim can.
Sure enough, and what we discussed last year, just before town meeting, when we had Mr. Bolio,
I think
right?
Leslie's next.
Mr.
Yeah.
Bolio came and to a meeting and was discussing this, and we said, you know, I don't think that any of us have a problem with this. We understand the town's obligation
showing?
to fix it up, but
Where's that showing on there?
it's the kind of thing that it's not in the budget, because we form our budget. We start thinking about this in January. By the time it's March, April, that's when we start meeting to form the
There's
budget,
a
and
few on there.
we budget pretty tight. So we didn't end up,
Leslie's got something to say.
Bam, hang on, hold on there.
Leslie's got something to say. Go ahead, Leslie.
I just wanted to add one comment, and that is, for many, many years, the people who have lived at the end of that road have only used it as a summer place. But being as they are our neighbors, I have at every town meeting ever since we've discussed with winter road closing, made the point that their plan was to move, which I understand maybe this year, to come up as well as the gentleman who has done this particular petition has forwarded, who has also moved on to, again, property that he has owned long-term, as well as we're talking over 20 years. No one has just bought their property. They bought property on a road that, as Lee has explained, has never been discontinued. It has never been abandoned. It is an active road in the town that the town has benefited from not having to plow it for significant number of years because these people did not ask for it to be plowed while they were not actively living there full time. There are now some people actively living there full time, and there may be more people actively living there. So the town has been saving that money, not having to pay that cost for years. These people are still paying the same level of taxes they would have been paying whether they were living there full time or whether they weren't. And they are simply asking to now have their road plowed so that they have safety, that they can be getting back and forth. And when they are there, obviously we have issues such as being able to put ambulances up there and or fire engines or something else, which also benefits the town by being able to get to its property in the event that there is a fire up there.
Mm-hmm.
So I just want to make that point with the whole issue of everyone saying, well, it's going to cost us money. Please remember that you've had 20, 30 years of not having to spend any of that money, and you've been saving from it.
All true.
Yep.
Nonetheless, this didn't come up to us during budget time when we could have planned ahead.
Stop.
This. It came up to us, 3 days before town meeting.
I understand that, but I've also heard it brought up to us last year at town meeting that an issue was raised and it was brought forward and never came fully through. So therefore, it's not like it's any surprise. Anybody knows
Here,
that this has
buddy.
been going on.
Who else is?
And I will mute and leave my comment as is.
Thank you. Anybody got any more questions
The
on
thing
there?
that makes us a
No.
little bit of a hot, so.
Richard,
Kathy, I have my hand up.
Yep, go ahead.
Isn't this something that has to be decided at a town meeting?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Okay, so like the whole town gets to talk about this,
The
right?
whole question, no, without question.
Yes,
Okay, so we're kind of done, aren't we?
kinda. Richard.
Yeah,
Richard.
Yeah, a couple of questions, I guess. I'm not sure if there are any other people living way up beyond cloud for year round. I'd like to know that. Also, I've been up there, used to go up there often. I haven't been up there for a while now, but I used to go up there often. And I'd like to know what it's going to take to bring that road, to put that road into a plowable condition.
Yeah, we,
I certainly
It's
don't
gonna
think
take
when
one
I
day.
was going up there, I don't believe that when I was going up there that you could have plowed that road the way it was.
No,
we haven't got that figured out yet, and probably the people at the end in time will be retiring up there.
yes, sooner than later,
Yeah,
sooner than later, yeah.
okay, so.
Okay, so I think that Lenny was right when she said, so if we have to go to a special town meeting, we're kind of done for tonight. I mean, there's not
With
much
that,
more.
right.
We could talk about it until we're blue in the face, but frankly, I kind of love the idea of going home to bed at some point tonight.
Having a warrant signed to get this thing in the works, if you don't make some kind of a decision.
What decision are we supposed to make?
The one that involves the David Green Acres and his petition.
But neither one of these decisions are decisions to make tonight.
You mean it, when are we gonna? have a
We just
town
gotta
meeting?
have it in a special meeting,
Well,
tonight you need to pick a date and tell me what to put on the warrant.
right?
so would you like to choose a date tonight for this special town meeting?
Yeah, I think we
Yes.
should.
Okay.
As
Well,
quick
here
as
we
we
are on
can.
Here we are on the 6th, and Bim said that the paving crew is gonna be here in the next 2 weeks, which is,
2 to 3 weeks, yeah.
2 to 3 weeks will be the 20th or the
So
27th,
have it in the
almost
middle,
November.
probably anytime.
You know, at some point in
This
time,
week.
all these paving yards are gonna be shutting down because once it gets below freezing.
Right, sure
you're not
enough.
gonna even
So-
get it in there.
Well, we're not paving his road.
Oh, okay.
Hell no.
Anytime here, any of them days.
Yeah, so I guess what I'm looking at, I mean, God knows, it was really a misery for me to have to be here at 6 today. But, you know, I can skip supper again. I mean,
It
we
was
can meet.
misery for all of us.
I'm sure it is. Misery for everybody. You know, do you want to meet
It don't
ahead
have
of
to
the
be on
select board
a, it
meeting?
don't have to
Well,
be on a select board.
well, on the other
meeting.
hand, if we meet ahead of the select board meeting, we can get it all done at once.
Oh,
What
all
we're
right.
deciding on here tonight amongst us is just.
Sumner has
the
their town
warrant and what we're
meetings
gonna do with
right ahead of
that.
select board
Townspeople
meetings every
are
time.
going to
Okay.
Walk in here and vote on this thing. So we technically got three things. We got a green issue with the paving. We
Right.
got just petition to open it up, and we need some type of dollar figure put in here to, we can't do the petition to plow and not have a dollar figure to bring it up to some type of road stand.
Right.
And for me, I think drawing the number out of a hat and probably get it plowable, but then we're gonna have to budget some money each year, just like we do with all our
Right.
other
Well,
roads.
you know,
Right.
naturally enough,
We have to.
Maintenance each year.
We have to.
well, you know, once we've brought it up to plowable,
It's
then
not us,
maintaining
but
it every
they
year is
don't
part of
like
the
it.
deal, isn't it?
You can't push his petition under the table and like it didn't happen.
I don't think nobody's trying to do that. Nobody's trying to
You
do
just
that.
said that we need to take time to think about it, how much time we gotta do before we make a decision on this. December when it's snowing and then take care of the pavement.
I did not.
What date you looking
I
at?
think she's talking about the date, to have a
All we're
meeting.
talking about is a date, and we're talking about a date sometime in October. That's
For a
not
meet-
pushing anything under the table,
For
and it's not
meeting.
waiting until the snow flies.
You don't think that maybe when you're gonna get together about the taxes, that maybe you could get together and set up a town?
I don't know.
That soon?
We discussed a couple of numbers.
First, they have to pick a date for the,
Meeting.
Well, that's what we're trying to do here, but somehow we end up involved in debate nonetheless.
Okay.
So the question I have, and this is the question I have, and this is a question for the board, that means you, and that means you, is do you want to try to have an evening meeting, or do you want to take up a Saturday to do this and see if we can get people to give up their Saturday to come in?
I got a question for you, Ray.
That don't
Yes.
matter.
You're talking and clearing your throat and this and that. You're not the chairman of the committee anymore, Kathy is. Why isn't she running the meeting? You're sitting there running it just like you always run the meetings.
Well, I don't know, ask
Okay.
her.
We're deciding, I don't know, it doesn't really matter to me.
Do you
It
wanna
does to
have
me, because I'm busy the 22nd and 29th of October, which are Saturdays.
You're what, busy what?
Those Saturdays, the 22nd and the 29th.
So you'd rather have an evening meeting?
I would.
On the 20th?
I don't care what night. 20th is we have a select board meeting that night.
You want on the 20th?
You know,
Doesn't
I mean,
matter to me.
Depends on how raucous the town meeting is gonna get. And on top of that, if it's town meeting, do we have to find a moderator?
We have to have a moderator.
yes, definitely.
Absolutely. I would say so.
Well, it probably ain't gonna be good then on a selectmen's meeting then, because you know it's gonna run into more than an hour. Probably.
The 19th, we have ordinance.
Ordinance.
18th, I have a training.
What are you doing on the 22nd?
Doesn't matter. She said she does not available.
I have a family obligation. I have to
She's just
go.
not available.
Okay.
Yeah. On the 29th, I'm doing a birthday party for
Oh,
Rusty's 30th.
dear. Probably too soon on me this week.
Well, as Leanne said, you know, this is the week of committing taxes, and we may end up with a special that week or not, depending on how quickly they are ready to commit taxes. For the special select board meeting, that's when we can sign a warrant, but we need to have chosen a date
You need to pick a date for the special.
the
town
special
What
meeting.
about
Right.
Tuesday, October 25th?
Is that too late for the pavement?
Well, I don't know, ask them.
Bim, do you think if we picked a meeting on the 25th of
The
October,
town
that
meeting
would that be
in the
too late for the
evening
paving
of
crew?
Tuesday, October 25th.
That'd be too late for the paving.
Maybe not, today's the sixth, so you're looking at a couple of weeks, puts us close to that.
Must be 3 weeks. It's the third week.
If everyone could agree on that, we could probably make it work. I feel like we're making the final decisions here, which we kind of need to make a decision tonight to get the warrant.
Well, that's what we're
Trying
trying
to
to
pick a
do.
date too. so.
Picking the date is the critical bit right at the moment. Does it need to be sooner than the 25th?
No, we can probably make it finish this work.
Probably,
I mean, usually up to Thanksgiving.
probably between maybe.
Yeah.
Well, we
Depending
paid,
on the winter.
we paid in November.
Yeah.
It's just,
Action plan shut down Thanksgiving.
25th.
If that's cutting it too close, we have to meet sooner.
Yeah.
But it looks like the 18th, 19th, and 20th are
Yeah,
all
book.
taken up.
But I could do the
Unless-
17th, we could do a Monday night.
Yeah, I could. Can you?
If I've got to.
I mean,
So you need
17th.
7 days notice
Yeah,
before the meeting.
yeah,
You need
we'd
to
give you
have
all
a
next week.
selectmen's Meeting,
Give you all next week.
but you have to have a selectmen's meeting to sign the warrant,
Correct.
which would have to be like tomorrow.
So 24th, if we have to have a meeting.
It could be the 11th, next Tuesday, I mean, the 7 days. But then you have to, yeah, you have to have a meeting to sign the warrant.
Well, we have to have a meeting to sign the warrant, but 11th is the Tuesday that Mike is coming to
During the day.
during the day.
no, I'm gonna give you.
But you wouldn't be ready for committing taxes at that point, would you?
Let's not worry about that.
Yeah,
We
taxes.
can wait, I can send the bills out
What are
later.
you gonna do?
Send the bills out later.
So you want to have a special town meeting on the 11th?
No, I'm
Okay.
saying, you guys said the
Oh,
17th.
okay,
I'm saying you would have to sign the warrant, I have to post it on the 11th. So you have to have a special
Oh, I
selectmen's
see.
meeting like tomorrow. Or Saturday. We're closed
When you say a
Monday.
special selectmen meeting, couldn't it just be the three of us coming in and signing it?
No, you
that's-
have to have a
it has to
meeting,
have
a
a
public
meeting.
meeting.
yes, and there's a pretty good possibility that that's exactly what will happen, is that there's just the three of us showing up to sign something, but it has to be open to the public no matter what.
Sure.
You want a special selectmen's meeting tomorrow night? I'll come in and get the warrant ready. Then we'll give me the figures tomorrow.
Well, I think we gotta agree on a figure here in the selectmen meeting, I don't think we can just. We have to agree on it tonight.
No, I mean, you don't have a figure tonight, do you?
I'm gonna say this, to bring that thing just plowable, very minimal, just to get it up in there, get it plowable.
All the way to the
I'm assuming
end.
that we could work something out with the people up there on a turnaround. And then we're gonna have to budget a little money each year to maintain and keep upgrading it like we are other roads. around
Every
here.
other road in town.
I would
Replace
say
the
if you
culvert.
put this petition in and a request for $75,000, we bring it up so it can be plowed.
And then we have to add
It's the
to,
people that are gonna vote, they're gonna say yes or no, and it's not us. We just
Right.
need to put it together
Right.
and put it in front of them.
and the other thing is that we have to consider that the plow contract is based on per mile. So we have
It's
to,
about a mile, I'm assuming that's about a mile to the end, so you're gonna, it's whatever you're paying me per mile
Add
for
it
the rest
on.
of the time.
And that
Right.
includes the culvert you have to replace, the cost of the culvert and putting it in.
I personally feel that that culvert should be replaced right out of our summer road money anyway, and fairly soon, so that someone don't fall in there with an oil truck or whatever they get up in there to heat.
Yeah, that culvert's
Very
pretty scary.
unsafe right
I know.
there. There's
We
a
went
culvert,
over it the
brand
other
new
day.
culvert later up here in my inventory.
Except
of them.
for it feels
It could
spongy.
be put in up there in a
so there's a
day
brand new
and
culvert
done.
that isn't earmarked for something else?
No, not really, it's an extra one I have there.
Okay.
I mean, we could spend a lot more money for that than that, but to get it plowable, we could use that figure.
75.
So what we're saying is that tomorrow evening, we're gonna have another
You're gonna,
select board
If you
meeting.
want it to the 17th, we have
we
to.
need to agree tonight on what we're doing. We're gonna do the Green Acre thing, we're gonna put his petition on the warrant with a figure, if they accept that they've gotta either transfer 75,000 more out of the fund balance or come up with something. But the other thing is, I think we should put something in there that you're not expecting this to happen this winter. This winter, we gotta, I mean, it's October.
I know, I agree.
I mean, if we could make this work and you understand that this can't happen. I mean, if we had a beautiful November and December,
Right.
it's possible to get up in there.
So it'll be a year from now.
Right, it doesn't state that it has to happen this year.
No. Here in October.
We could get
I mean,
2 feet of snow tomorrow.
Right, okay.
Let's not and say we did, huh? Let's not and say we did.
I know.
I'm kind of big on taking someone for that word, and as long as he understands that this might not be, I mean, first snowstorm, you're calling me to be up in there, we haven't, you know?
Okay, so the date?
Okay,
So,
17th, did we say?
I believe we said 17th.
put a 75,000.
Which, if I'm not
October
mistaken-
17th.
I'll come in on my day off.
At 7 o'clock?
But if we have a selectmen's meeting tomorrow night, there's no warning at all for notice.
It's an emergency.
Okay.
Isn't that what you call an emergency select board meeting?
Yeah.
We've had to call emergency select board meetings before now. What's more, there is notice because there's all these people listening in on Zoom, aren't they?
Yep,
All right, so what time on the 17th?
7 o'clock.
That's what I would think.
And what time are you meeting on this tomorrow? I need time to get this ready and
Well, as far as my part, what we're discussing tonight, we finalized what we're doing for the warrant for summer.
Yep.
So, we're doing the 3 things, we're tying.
Right, well, the thing of it is the warrant's not gonna have those figures in it anyway. The warrant's just gonna have
Yes,
this
it
question.
is.
Oh,
Yeah,
it's-
it is.
yeah, well,
you have to have figures to approve to fix the road.
there you go, so 75,000.
We're gonna use 75,000 to get it followed.
Okay,
So what time are you meeting on the 7th tomorrow?
6:30?
I don't even know these people, we gotta talk. to them
6:30
about
anytime,
what
but good for me, I don't care.
Can I get back here? I've been to Greenville tomorrow.
Where, Greenville?
Yeah, and Corinna.
So, but 6:30
I
works
can
for you?
get back here by 6:30, but I'll be coming right from work.
Well, do
Okay.
you want it to be a little later? than that? You
Nope,
wanna call it-
Because
okay.
I want to go home and put on my slippers and my
Yeah,
sweatpants.
6:30.
Friday afternoon, I'm telling
Now,
you.
what is going to be on the warrant exactly?
I mean,
The
unless someone can get here at 6, I'll leave
The
early in the
petition.
morning, even earlier if I have.
Green
to.
Acres.
An article to appropriate from fund balance $75,000. An article to appropriate whatever it costs to plow for 2 miles. Bim, would it be 2 miles for plowing?
No, I'm guessing it's a mile, so you're
But
paying,
one-
what, 7,200 or 7,000?
So it's
No,
not-
what are you paying, 68?
But it's not one, hello, it's not one down and one back?
No,
No, okay.
we do.
I don't know.
It's a lucky thing, huh?
And what is the cost to plow the road
Okay, so it's
down
the
and back? 2
petition,
miles, right?
The
One-
petition,
it's one mile.
Green
Right,
Acres,
it's 1 mile, but you have to come back through. You don't.
take money from the fund
He doesn't charge us
balance
for
to
both
pay back.
directions.
that's
Plow
15,000.
is 1 lane.
Yeah, 55, I think it was.
Bim, to fix Green Acres and pave it was how much?
55?
Let's do 55,
I didn't know
that's
if
just a
you plowed
little
one
over.
way like they do on
Up
regular road.
up to,
It
up
really isn't
to
the lane.
all of these,
per month.
up to 75.
55,000 transferred if they want to pay Green Acres, and 75 if they want to open dam.
And that
And plus
capital,
the plowing.
and that capital,
Plus,
That's not an emergency.
Oh,
You
okay.
might- Do you want to just wait on that?
What?
That capital A, it's been 3 years, so who cares?
okay,
Yeah,
whatever.
Sure, sure, we
Plus-
can bring that to
Plus,
regular
I
time
think we're
meeting.
using up all of our
Yes.
excess fund balance. We may want to
I
take
dare,
that
I
from
dare say,
taxation.
I
Okay,
dare say.
we gotta agree here tonight and understand that we're probably not gonna get that fixed, to plow this winter.
Won't be this
If we
winter.
did get it plowable, you've got to look at about 7,000-ish. What are you paying me, 68, 9?
Something like that, I can't
7,000,
remember.
about 7,000 if we was to plow it this winter. I don't think it's gonna, that's gonna, would happen. I
Be
can't
next
see it
year.
happening, but
So
you'd
you
have
want
deal
me
with
to
that
put that in the money article, that it's next, raise money for next year?
Yeah, it'll be more than likely next winter.
Well, so, and here's the thing, in a special town meeting, we can't appropriate taxes. All we can do is take money
That's what I
from
meant,
fund balance. And so if it's not gonna happen this year, then do we actually want to take that money out of fund balance and leave ourselves
But
on
it
the
is
edge?
gonna happen this year if we're going fiscal year, right? He's gonna put all the time and effort into it.
Yes,
So-
that's fine,
next
that's true.
spring, right?
It's true.
We'll work that extra mile.
So no plowing money,
Right.
just the 75,000 to fix it, because you'll do that before
Right,
June
but
30th?
If we should, it won't happen, because it's too late. So no.
But
Before
if we
June
take,
30th, you'll,
but if we take the money from fund balance, are you quite certain that this could happen before June 30th, that you would do this work? Because what's the sense of taking the money from fund balance if it's not gonna be a stepped up project? Of course, if we take the money from fund balance and you can get part of the work done during the month of November, that might make his life a lot easier, or his plow guy, life a lot
Why, when
easier.
you're taking it out of fund balance, why is the deadline, it gotta be taken out before June 30th? I realize the year is June 30th.
Well,
but-
because if it wasn't gonna happen until after June 30th, then we could wait and put it in the budget and take it out of the fund balance.
Well,
I mean, rather than take it out of the fund balance, we could
Budget.
just add it to everybody's tax
I
bill.
would go take it to 75 now, and we'll do what we could for work this fall. If it passes, we'll do what we could for work this fall.
Well, that's kind of what I was thinking, but I'm
Within the
just,
spring.
but that's why I'm asking you.
Yeah.
If you can be certain that you could get as much as you can done this fall and then work on it in the spring.
Yes, and the snow plowing part, we'll work into our spring, when we do our annual regular budget.
Because you're probably not gonna, you're not gonna be able to do enough work to get a big truck in there before the snow flies.
He understands that.
Yeah.
And this is true, Mr. Bolia? You understand about this? You understand about this?
Yes.
but if it is approved, it does say it's gonna be plowed. So
But
if
it's
we're
here.
forced to,
Okay,
So circumstances being that, let's say we can get into.
It does say
snow
from this
January.
time forward.
Right.
The last words in the petition are, or any part of these months, from this time forward, which means that if this passes, it's not even optional, he'd have to plow it.
if it's not completed, if the plowing don't take place till next.
we can't change his article.
No, can't change that. So So is it an option for a smaller truck to do that stretch? You have to ask him.
No.
I don't want to act like,
Bim.
I don't want to act like the chairman.
Ask Bim.
Oh, yeah, you asked him.
Yeah, I don't know why we couldn't do like a small one-time.
Can you get a 1-ton in there if this
This year.
passes and you fix up?
Yeah.
Well, sure they are.
We might get to his place, but if we can help a way to turn around.
Bim, I'm thinking about that photograph you gave me of you was all stopped at the top of Andrews Hill with your grandfather in a 1-ton. Just a 1-ton regular pickup. You know what I'm talking
12
about.
years old.
Well, he was about 12 years old.
So we wanna leave the plowing in there just in case? Because if we're forced, we have to plow it. If it's,
I mean, from this time forward are pretty strong words.
And worst case. Have to try to do something to get possibly be off.
okay, so those three,
You know, my-
those four things, 75,000, up to 75,000 fixed end road. the petition, 55,000 for Green Acres paving and plowing of Darrington Road for 1 mile. Anything else?
I don't think so.
And it's going to be October 17th, 7 p.m. And we're meeting tomorrow night at 6:30 to sign this, if I get it ready.
I
Yeah.
got a question on the subject as well.
Yeah.
Remind me for
It
the
has to
special
do with
select board
alternate
meeting at
committee
6:30
members.
tomorrow.
Is that something that needs to go on the warrant as well?
What is this?
This is number 4 on the new business.
Alternate committee members, administrative ordinance part 2.
I guess you're all set with this, right?
Yep,
I think so.
think
Thank you.
so.
So
Ben.
next
Thank you,
is
Ben.
junkyard.
yeah.
Thank you.
Junkyard permit, Harlow.
Ben, Pratt Hill looks fantastic, thank you.
We need to set a hearing.
They hadn't gotten a quote yet.
Need to set a hearing?
Is there a date by which we have to have set this hearing?
Well, his permit expired October 1st, I think.
Oh, scheisse. And is there a reason why the 25th doesn't work for you, Kim? I mean, we've been through so many dates now. Let's say it's the 25th. It's a Tuesday. Do you have something going on that day?
No.
Wait, a minute, that's the day of the funeral.
That's just till 1.
Right, so, okay,
This month sucks.
Really, I
I'm
guess.
telling you.
Holy shit.
I'm not loving
Whoops.
it. This month is like not, it's at this time, it is not my favorite, and I usually love October.
Now, what do we want to set the 25th up for?
A public hearing for a junkyard permit. Harlow.
I think it requires a site visit to.
Well, I'm afraid so.
I'm tired.
The site visit,
We don't have any
including the code
ordinances or anything
officer
that says-
and select board member. Zip.
We don't have any ordinances say when someone has a junkyard, they put up fencing to block the junkyard.
It's law.
It's a law to put up a fence.
The law. This is junkyard law.
If you're in a place where anyone can see you from their property, which in this particular case, they can't. The catch is that
What
there's
about
two
the woman
properties.
who's called me 20 times on Town Farm Road?
Yeah, so,
She can see everything from her property. It's disgusting.
right,
So
but
you
that's
should
that's
do a site
not,
Visit, and then we'll have a hearing.
Okay.
so has she applied for a junkyard permit as well?
Oh, who? I thought she said Harlow.
So are we talking about Rodney Harlow's automotive recycling yard that is down behind Joan Welch's place?
Yes.
Or are we talking about the site that's right on Town Farm Road, also owned by him, but I think maybe actually owned by.
327 Town Farm Road. I didn't copy this for you.
Yeah, I'm
Yep.
sure you did. I'm just
Yeah.
not looking at it. So,
75 acres, 1,200 feet of road frontage. Same one, it's just,
Yeah,
this is
so
just a renewal.
what I'm asking, because I haven't driven up Town Farm Road for a while, we also sent a letter to a woman who is, does she own the property?
She owns this one.
She owns this one. So who owns the property that has the double wide and all this other
That's been moved.
stuff?
Harlow.
That's all been moved?
It's been moved. I ain't been up
Off the
there.
road.
I ain't been up there lately.
That's what I heard.
But
Okay,
still right there, but just move back.
Yeah.
So it's not
Yeah, I ain't been
a
up
road
there.
hazard.
So this renewal needs a hearing.
yes, this renewal needs a hearing, and I'm suggesting Tuesday evening, the 25th,
Okay.
7. That's what I would suggest. On the other hand, if a Tuesday really doesn't work for you, we could probably choose a different day. Is there something going on the 26th that would make it impossible?
Don't matter to me. For me, I'm free.
26 is something else going on.
And don't forget to do the site visit.
So are we trying to set
Site
something
check.
up on the 26th? Just the 25th?
25th, if you free.
Yeah. It's fine.
So you do have something on the 26th?
On the 26th, I have to be down in.
Okay,
So 25th, good for you?
it works for me.
But she said we're gonna do a site check
We
before.
still have to do a site visit.
Before.
And that's hard telling because I think we want to have a code officer with us.
And then you ask.
The last time I did it, it was me and Kennedy and
Do you have another
Peg
check?
Poskis.
This is something I've never done.
Do you have another check? Because you took them all off the warrant. You said you're missing one.
No,
I'll go back and look, I don't think we were there.
no, I don't have another
I
one.
have it attached to this.
Right.
And there's,
Nope.
I don't believe it. I don't believe it, but you can check. No, I didn't take any checks off the warrant whatsoever.
Well, I took them off, but those all in the one. Yeah, no touching.
So did you scan my little quick one? No. Oh, no. Yeah, no food, no?
Nope, I don't have them. None on the floor. You must have them.
I need the bottom.
So we have to contact Scott for the site visit before the
Yeah.
25th.
And the owner.
And the owner.
So you said the 25th at 7 PM.
Yep.
I'm all set.
Okay.
That's good hearing, right?
So that has to have a notice of 7 days.
Oh, goodness.
So
Make
we
it.
want to do a site visit.
So you want to talk, do you want me to try arrange a site visit and notify everyone?
Yeah,
and
you
send
can
an
if-
Email?
Should,
Yeah.
Scott, and we have to get
To
Mr.
let us
Harlow
know.
too.
Yes. Well, yeah, you don't want to trespass. So. And he did pay a 5-year fee, $250.
Okay. Okay, the next one is alternate committee members, administrative ordinance part 2.
Yeah, so Lee was saying we don't need it in the ordinance anymore, because it used to be in all the committee ordinances.
We just never included it when we redid the ordinances, did we?
So what is the law, Lee?
I'm sorry.
Alternate
On alternates,
committee.
my understanding is that it's in the end up to the select board to determine in any case.
Even when we have an ordinance?
It's in the ordinance. I have to find it and read it though.
There's nothing in there about alternates, but all the ones we rescinded all had wordage for alternates.
Well, my understanding is that, yeah, that none of them have alternates in there, but, you know, this is something that we might want to consider putting on the warrant. I mean, like Ken was just mentioning that, and I think that might be a good point.
And I don't think we
is that,
purposely took it out of the ordinance. I just know we were working so hard to get it ready. I was on the ordinance committee at the time.
I don't think it's an emergency, but.
Well, and if I could interject, we neither said there could or could not be alternates. It's pretty much up to the select board.
Is that what the law says? Because it was in the old ordinances.
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't? That's-
Anything that isn't in the administrative ordinance is at the discretion of the select board. According to my conversation with MMA. But Susan's right. We didn't particularly talk about it. But since I saw that it came up on the agenda, I thought I better look into it, since I was the chairman then.
So the law says that the selectmen have the right to appoint alternates, whether or not it's in the ordinance?
That's my understanding. But if it's uncomfortable, it can always be slightly amended.
Doesn't matter to me, either way. Really.
It's not an emergency.
It's not an emergency, you know,
I'll try to look up the law.
but I do think that we should, you know, I do think that we should have alternates.
Alternates?
I think we should have alternates all around.
Can we table it and I'll look up, make sure it's okay, because we do have an ordinance.
You know, and, you know, the question, I guess is, oh, if we have a special town meeting, should we be, shooting to amend the ordinance? But then, of course, that requires a hearing, right?
A hearing, and we have to amend the ordinance before tomorrow.
Right.
Table it.
I think Wendy's right. I think that the select board has the right to appoint alternates.
I don't think it's an issue, but a quick check with MMA would tell you that I understood them to say it's at the discretion of the select board.
I'll look up the statute.
We're gonna table it.
Okay. I'll mute.
Bear Pond Dam Fund request.
I didn't see that in the,
I don't have anything, Kathy, put that on the agenda.
So tell us about it, Kathy.
They had a email
from Larry Jordan.
asking
Yeah,
if the town of Hartford, I hope I didn't
Yeah.
get rid of it. It was asking if we was interested in giving them.
Participating in the cost. So the dam hasn't been, it was built like in the early 1900s. We've had two different people come and look at the dam at their pond, and I'm just going by Larry Drew's notes, which are. in
Thanks for
here.
coming, you guys.
Good night.
Good night. Thank you.
So did we receive our official request for money? I don't know.
I don't think that was
yeah,
very official.
I don't believe, I think any request from Bear Pond, the Bear Pond Improvement Association was like their standard amount. I don't think they,
At town meeting,
Yeah.
we're talking.
you know, it was like, you know,
I think we. approved
$100,
that, but-
$200, $300, something like that.
I know,
Wasn't very much.
the gentleman, Pete Pillsbury.
Pillsbury.
They
Yes.
had talked about using ARPA money, but then I heard the damage to the dam wasn't as bad as they thought, so that was kind of dropped. But I didn't see any requests other than,
No, they did not request at town meeting. They didn't put in a formal request.
Nope.
In
So I know
time.
they have
So,
two
so is
options.
this request for like, we need money and we need it now? Or is this a very early request for us to add money to next town meeting?
I don't know.
Let me see if I can find it. You can go on to the next lead if you want to, while I'm looking.
It sounded funny.
Harlow is on, he's, I'm asking him what works for him for the site visit.
Oh, good.
He's on Zoom?
Yeah.
The next one would be appointments and resignations. The final one.
Yes.
Kathy, can't you do
No,
a
I'm not
search with your
finding-
little magnifying glass? You don't know the name of the person that asked you.
I can't remember what the name was.
Well, I thought it was Larry Blue myself, and so I just searched for him and I didn't find anything from him. I didn't know anything from Larry either.
So maybe we should just table this till the next meeting?
I think we
Yeah,
should table this to
go
the next
ahead.
meeting, because I can't find the actual request. I guess what I'm hearing is if they're requesting money, that they're requesting money from next year's budget.
I have no idea.
I don't
I haven't
think
seen
they're,
anything.
I
We have to
mean,
fix it before, in the spring, which will be this year's budget.
okay, next year's budget's not till June 30th, so it's like, so October is the surprise budget request month.
I guess so.
So how much money are they asking for?
Right. I know they have two.
We have no way of
two
knowing,
groups, but-
and if we don't know before tomorrow, we certainly can't put it to,
No,
we can't put it to the voters to scrounge it out of our fund balance, which used to be healthy.
Yeah, we can't touch it next year.
No
I just
shit.
paid $375,000 for this line,
Yeah, no shit.
and no tax money's coming in yet, because the tax bill's gonna be late.
I'm telling you.
Okay, we'll table it.
I'm on the board of directors for the BPIA, and at the last meeting, it said that the dam repairs were going to be around $19,000. And there was talk about going to the town of Hartford, since 2/3 of that pond are in Hartford, generates a lot of tax money. That if they could chip in some amount of money, I don't know what Larry asked for. But we were hoping that the town could chip in so that the whole expense of the dam repairs wasn't put on the backs of the pond people. So, I mean, I know there's discretionary funds and stuff, and I just heard Bim just got $130,000 handed to him. We did the Hartford Town Beach, got $5,000. So we were hoping that, we could get a little bit of funds thrown our way to help out with some of the costs.
Can it wait for town meeting, or are you doing the repairs right now?
The repairs will probably be done by spring. We are having a board meeting on Saturday morning, and I'm sure it will be discussed. I can send you guys an email.
Well, the only thing is they're signing a warrant for town meeting tomorrow. I have no official request. We don't know the amounts.
Okay, I can talk to Larry and have him shoot you an email again and send it formally.
Like before tomorrow evening,
Yep. Okay.
or like tomorrow during the day, I guess.
Yep. Okay, I will do that.
ASAP.
Thank you.
And you guys agreed to have an article for this on the warrant?
Guess
I
so.
would be willing. I don't know, I mean,
Anybody else want some money?
It's like, they all want stuff from yesterday.
She said we had a healthy fund balance. She didn't say spend it all. What she said was she get a policy in place so this doesn't happen.
no shit. This is,
It's just like, it's October, and we're gonna fix the road, so we can.
there you go.
All right, Bear Pond Dam.
There you go. And I actually thought Mr. Boley understood that, we're very willing to consider his request, but that we really needed to wait until our next budget cycle. And now here we are.
So can we go to appointments? Because I have.
Yes.
Fire warden position, Baxter Cardiff is out of commission for a little bit, and his brother, who is also a volunteer firefighter, is willing to take his place if appointed.
No, well, I move
Just
we
for a few
appoint, I move we appoint Tucker Cardiff as, what would you call it?
Deputy.
A deputy fire warden?
Yep, I second it. All in favor?
Go, and that way it's not interim, it's just, he's the deputy fire warden and he can.
Because you guys were voted as fire warden.
Right, so I'm gonna call him the deputy.
Yep. Good.
And AvCog cleaning day, Dan LaRochelle would like to go. It's $35.
Yep.
What was that you just said?
Cleaning day. AvCog cleaning day.
What does that stand for?
AdCog is the Androscoggin Valley
Valley Council of
Coalition, a
Governments.
coalition of government, council of governments, and I actually did plan to go. I am a General Assembly rep, so it wouldn't cost anything, so I did just plan on showing up because that is a Wednesday, and I have Wednesdays off. I actually wanted to spend my Wednesday to do that. What am I thinking?
So who's going?
Gonna make a motion to
I
approve
see that
that.
Dan LaRochelle is interested in this. That would cost $35 for Dan LaRochelle to attend.
Okay, I make a motion, we accept for Dan to go to this training. And you had nothing?
I'll second it. No, it doesn't cost anything for me to go.
Okay.
I'm a General Assembly member.
All in favor? Good.
And he's supposed to bring back information I asked him to on that new law about dwellings, how many dwellings you can put on them.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to.
Mhm.
Yeah, great.
Ready? Go home?
I think
Yeah,
so.
that's it.
I don't know, do we don't have any other ones? I did notice what I'm gonna say is probably just a correspondence from Beaver Brothers, that builds the,
That was for Sue because she's supposed to contact the beaver retriever. or DC.
the people who volunteered to help with the beaver deceiver. And you were gonna.
So you're gonna write these dates on the calendar over there,
contact them and
Leanne?
tell them to contact me.
So,
And
so I
anybody that
remember 'em.
volunteers, for, we want to be able to just say this is
I remember 'em.
scoop, you're meeting with them and.
Night,
then you
everybody.
can reach out whatever time
Yeah,
we want to meet with them.
I know that this